The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Hey, hey, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little louder, tell me I can live without her if I only listen to the band. Listen to the band. Weren't they good that made me happy? I think I can make it alone. Oh, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little bit louder, tell them they can live without her if they only listen to the band. Listen to the band. Now, weren't they good? They made me happy. I think I can make it alone. Oh, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Come on, play the drums just a little bit louder. Tell us we can live without her now that we have listened to the band. The band.
Well, who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it, dear listener? The man that wrote and sang that song is coming on the show this evening. At long last, it's taken a lot of toing and froing, and at long last, Mr. Michael Nesmith is coming on the show this evening. We are calling him at 10:30, although I do not have a telephone number for him. I've had a delightfully bizarre email exchange with the former Monkee today, where I've run a small record label and we're releasing a Mike Nesmith live album, which he has signed off. Literally, he signed it off. And so I emailed him to say, Michael, just to let you know, the Live at the Paris Theatre LP and CD look great. They should be with you soon. Do you fancy coming on the radio show? He replied, OK, what's Live at the Paris Theatre? And I'm thinking, okie dokie. I said, it's the live album that you recorded for the BBC in 1975 that was never released, and we're releasing it. OK, if you say so. That's it. That was it. But he's coming on. The legend, the man who invented MTV. His mother invented Tipex, and he invented country rock, will be on this show. Fingers crossed. About 10:30. Until then, 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. It does bear saying, we had some really sad news before the show started. And thank you, Harry, for pointing this out to me. I can't remember which performance ring it was. For those who are new to the show, for a while, Catherine and I did a thing called Performance Ring. Well, we didn't really do it. We hired a room, and then you, dear listener, would come along and provide the talent. And the weirder and the more wonderful, the better. And there was one act, and I use the term act in inverted commas. It was a guy called Ed Surname who had, he'd filmed his entire life for about it was like the last 20 years or something, maybe even longer, because he was about 30 when he came in. He'd certainly been doing it, maybe about 20 years. And he'd filmed it all. And he was making this wonderful, wonderful film of it, which I think you can buy, actually. And he came and he gave a talk about it, and he showed clips from it. And I'm going to be honest, it was absolutely nuts. It was insane. It was weird, it was funny, it was uncomfortable, it was stupid and dumb and wonderful for all of those reasons. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. And he was obviously, you know, it was obviously thought differently from us mere mortals, Ed. And then we just got the very sad news that he killed himself this week, I think. And that has totally knocked me for six. Totally knocked me for six. I didn't see that one coming. And listen, I don't know the fella. I met him that night. I am, of course, isn't it funny? Who was it? Was it Ross last night who was talking about a friend's suicide? It was, wasn't it? And it was about the guilt he felt around that. And Ed has sent me a couple of emails asking if he could come on this show and asking if he could come on the Rabbit Hole. The last one was just over 2 months ago. And I didn't reply to them. And because I don't really reply to a lot of emails. If you've ever emailed me and you've got a reply, you are 1 in 100 because I don't. I don't. So, of course, I'm feeling guilty if I'd have replied. Listen, I'm not dumb. If I'd have replied to him, I don't think that would have had any impact at all on what he chose to do. If you can get the phones, please, John. Any impact or made any difference. But, of course, I'm feeling a little bit guilty, as we do. But it just goes to show he was 32. I know for a fact, because people have told me on Twitter, that he was encouraging others through kind of depression and through some things that they were going to. Look, Lane has put this in as a tweet, so I'm sure he won't mind me reading this out. That's taken the wind out of my sails. He DM'd me when I was down a couple of months ago trying to boost me. And I did look at his Twitter feed, and his last tweet is a retweet, and it's a retweet that you may have seen. It's had 220,000 retweets. I saw it. It's from a young lady called Talinda Bennington, and it's a photo of a family, including a rather, a smiling and laughing young man. I guess he's young, he's 30. And her tweet is, and this is Ed's last retweet, "This was days before my husband took his own life. Suicidal thoughts were there, but you'd never know." And that is just the saddest thing. Yes, that really knocked me for six. Really knocked me for six. So, Ed, hats off. I'm saluting you, and I'm sorry that anybody could feel so much pain that is the only option that they think is viable. All I can say is if I'm, what little I've said in terms of description, if that in any way feels like you or feels like somebody that you love, 116-123, the Samaritans, 116-123. I can't say it enough. It's free. It's anonymous. You can tell them as much as you want, as little as you want. You can make it up, whatever. 116-123. Don't ever, and I'm not going to, I read the news article. I'm not going to read what he did, but Jesus, poor bastard. I mean, man. Let's try not to let anyone else lose their life like that, if we can, please. 116-123. If you're struggling, go and talk to someone, whether it's a paid professional, whether it's your mate, whether it's a priest, whether it's the Samaritans, whoever. If you're struggling, go and talk to someone, please, 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 please. There's no reason. We don't want to lose any more people. There's no reason for people to die because of that. And I don't know the bloke, but I feel like I'm welling up. It's broken my heart, absolutely broken my heart, because he was an artist. He was an artist. So that's happened. So and we found out literally it was about 20 minutes before the show started, and I'm really glad that we were told. So thank you, Harry, for alerting me to that. and we move onwards and we carry on. Tonight's show is gonna be... Where's my bit of paper with my answers written? Oh, there it is. Tonight's show. So fingers crossed, 10:30, we've got Mike Nesmith of the Monkees coming on. Fingers crossed. That's the plan, but he's a little bit vague, he's a little bit hazy. And I've interviewed him 7 years ago, and I am desperately trying to think of original questions to ask him. I think question one is... because he was like, if you read his autobiography, he was in a bit of a bromance with Jack Nicholson. He was in a bromance with Jack Nicholson in 1967-68. Imagine. What a time. So I got feeling that the main thrust of the interview is going to be about Jack Nicholson and taking acid. I think that's where we're going to go with that. In the meantime, you can come on, dear listener, and talk absolute guff or nonsense or heavy stuff or whatever. It's Friday evening. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Of course, if there are any developments in the terror attack that happened on the London Underground today, we will let you know. I suspect that there won't be any developments tonight, but of course we will keep an eye on that, and if we hear any breaking news about that, we will make sure that we let you know about that. But this show is called The Late Night Alternative, and I think we should provide an alternative tonight of all nights in, what can be a really miserable world, can't it? I love the way that Catherine there subtly was trying to quietly move the microphone and then just went... He just wanged it. He just wanged it.
You were getting louder. I thought I could get away with it. But then there was a pause.
Your gentle hand. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I'm Iain Lee. She's Catherine Boyle. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio.
Uncut, after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
My computer is extraordinarily slow these days. I'm switching it off and switching it on again, but it's not coming back on. Now that's a concern, guys. Exciting news. There we go. There it comes back on. We have been sent, because it's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray very, very soon. We have been sent 3 copies on Blu-ray. We have been sent 2 copies on Blu-ray, 1 copy on DVD of Kung Fu Elliot. Remember Kung Fu Elliot? It's coming out on DVD, guys. We've got some copies to give away. Here's the thing, though. I'm going to go home and test them, because I have a feeling they are going to be American region. Now, you guys all know how to hack into your DVD players, don't you? To make sure that you can play American DVDs on British players. Of course. I think that if the Blu-rays are region coded, it's a little bit trickier. So I'm going to go home and I'm going to test these on... I don't want to give away something that may or may not work. Well, even if it doesn't work, we will give them away, but we'll just say it doesn't work. But I'm going to go home. I'm going to test them over the weekend to ensure that they are playable on British machines. And then next week, it's the great Kung Fu Elliot giveaway. Remember that Joker?
Oh.
I love that man so much.
What a man.
What an absolute pudding that guy was. And we're going to get Jarrett, the guy one of the guys that made it, to come on in the next couple of weeks to talk about it. And here's what's on the back, right? DVD features director commentary with Blake and Blair. Wow.
Oh,
sweet. 17 deleted scenes, Q&A with directors, and Elliot's trailers. That is happening, baby.
do you remember when we thought it was all fake?
Yeah. Well, there's still a little part of me that suspects maybe it is, but do you know what? I could not care less. I don't think it is, but there's a tiny part of me that thinks, oh, maybe.
What, even after speaking to him?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, if it's a hoax, it's the greatest hoax in the world.
Well, hang on a second, guys. I don't know if you could say it's the greatest hoax.
Let's remember how we found him.
Yep. Well, we found him on a sex website, and then we found him on a nannying website. But here's the thing. I was told to go to the nannying website by one of the producers. And that raised a little flag in my... Either way, I'm 85% sure it's not fake. Even if it is fake, who cares? Who cares? It's brilliant. It's so good. Who actually cares? 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call, dear listener. You'll call up, you'll speak to John, he'll take your number and he will give you a call back. Here's the thing. We had another lock-in last night. We did another extra 54 minutes of radio. The show was supposed to finish at 1. We carried on until 1:54. And let's just say, when we do the lock-ins, there's no adverts, there's no trails, news is gender fluid, and I don't know if I've used that term in the correct context, but it really is, a no man's land of,
chat.
Chat is chat. It's Chatman's land. Chatmandu.
Oh, I like that.
It's actual Chatmandu. Oh, where are my papers? Where are they?
I brought them in. They're there.
Are these?
Yeah.
Here we go. Because we've got a bit of bad news. A little bit of bad news here. Our mate Aaron, who we had on the show yesterday, the sexbot guy. If you missed it, man alive, the first half an hour of last night's show was insane.
I've just sent him the link to the bonus podcast I put up
To
tonight.
the what podcast?
Bonus.
I thought you said
no.
Bonus podcast.
Of course you did.
It really is. It's a really sexy podcast. I had to use the dump button on a sex bot. Honestly, John, we had a sex bot talking dirty to us down the phone. Straight in there. She went from quoting Churchill to dropping the F-bomb.
She did.
I really want you to F me.
Filthy mare.
It's a honestly,
All he did was hold her hand and she went for that.
It's one of the best interviews I've ever done with a sex bot. It's on the podcast if you want to listen to it. Anyway, it was Aaron Squire and Samantha. A dad who enjoys threesomes with his wife. Well, again,
not quite that,
no. His wife Hannah, as we established, barks orders to him while he's rutting with Samantha.
You could see it that way if you want to be dirty about it, but he says it's research.
Yeah,
he's a salesman. He needs to know that you can perform various things on it.
Oh yes. And every hole is a goal with Samantha, isn't it?
Yeah.
A dad who enjoys threesomes with his wife and a sex robot has hit back at claims that he is a pervert. Shocked viewers branded Aaron Squire perverted and strange after he appeared on ITV's This Morning with sex doll Samantha. Samantha, here's the thing, Samantha's the pervert.
She really is.
He revealed the life-sized robot also interacts with his kids. Aaron, 36, from Holyhead, Anglesey, denied he and wife Hannah are sickos, saying, "We're not perverts and these dolls are not for perverts."
Wow.
I don't know about that. That's a little bit... I think some of them might be... Aaron told Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield, his children, aged 3 and 5, ask where's Samantha. No, you're completely misunderstanding it. It has two modes. It has...
family mode?
Yeah, family mode, which is like historical quotes and science facts, so dull mode. And it has...
It tells jokes as well, remember?
Yeah, and it has rutting mode.
Gosh. And to get from one to the other, you have to hold her hand and stroke her. Yeah.
You have to woo her, you have to stroke... If you go straight in for the titties...
She tells you off.
Get off of my tits.
Buy me a drink.
And for those, if you're wondering, the vagina is detachable so you can clean it easily.
Please don't leave it on the draining board.
His wife Hannah told the show she was happy to enjoy three-way sex with Aaron and Samantha. But Ania really tweeted, "What an effed up world we are living in." Sue added, "This man's sick." We told how Aaron sat on the TV sofa as Samantha's hand rested on his knees. Her sex modes, racy lines include, "I take it all." Hang on a minute. Yes, Ken.
Hello.
Hello, Ken.
John?
No, it's Ian.
Yes.
It's my show. It's Ian. Thought you weren't going to phone me again, buddy.
Well, I was actually wanting to talk to your announcer.
Yeah, he's busy. He's busy, mate. You're phoning up a phone-in radio show, so you either talk to the host or you jog on.
No, I'm leaving. I think you're led by Satan, my friend. You're a man of the devil. I'm cutting you off now. From now on, I don't listen.
You say that every time, and you never listen. You've got to put the phone down, aren't you? You say that every time, and then you keep phoning up.
Goodbye. You're led by the devil, my friend.
Ken, can I just say one thing to you before you hang up, mate? Right. He don't like it up him, does he? Don't phone up to speak to John. If you've got his phone number, you can use that. Don't use mine. I'll read you a letter from Ken later on that he sent me, which, in light of the news that we kicked off the show with, I think is absolutely appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye.
Ken, can I just say one word to you before you hang up, brother?
Oh. Please hang up.
You hang up.
Please hang up.
What a coward, what a nasty man. I wasn't going to read this letter because he sent me this ages ago. I'm going to read it later on. You'll see who's led by Satan. You'll see who the devil is.
There's a certain kind of listener who rings up to give the production staff a piece of their mind.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised it's Ken.
Sorry if I've ruined your date night, John. We'll have Michael Nesmith on. And we'll have a nice chat with Mike. And then I'll bring you all down by reading Ken's letter. Some of you will have seen, because I tweeted it. He's given me permission to read it in the letter. I've not actually read the whole letter. I read the first paragraph and just went, oh, God. Then we'll see who is closer to God, me or thee. Then we'll see. Oh, here we go. If you go to... so we've just talked about our friend there and Samantha. Text Maniacs in the start. I love this page. It's where people text in their thoughts. More often than not, their thoughts are, we've not seen Lucy Pinder for a while. How about a picture of her in her bra and pants? And then there'll be a picture. Lucy Pinder. I think I'm dating myself a bit there. So people have texted in about Samantha and Aaron. Biz has texted, the children should be taken off that fella who lets his kids play with a sex doll. I thought he came across as an excellent parent. It's not like he's letting them, play. It's slightly different to that. Seasick Dinks. How sick is this guy on the telly who's having it off with a doll, for God's sake? I think he needs to be in the Puzzle Factory. He needs help and fast. The Puzzle Factory? What is that? That's unusual, isn't it? I don't know what that means. Sexy Heather says, is it just me, or does the guy with the sex doll, wife and kids, think it's okay? The kids will need therapy later in life. Weirdo.
I wonder if Sexy Heather's got kids.
Oh, and then they move on. I love this. These really are the thoughts of the common man. Tasty Tone on a different subject. We're going to have a generation of confused depressives when these 6-year-old cross-dressers grow up.
What?
Well, guys, anyone? Then it goes on and on and on and on. There you go. Then it goes on.
This is people writing in the Star, right?
Yes.
Which has been obsessed with sex bots for a good 2 years.
Yep.
Which is run by a pornographer. Just checking.
Exactly. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call. I'm kind of waiting for an email from Michael Nesmith, formerly of the Monkees. There's no email coming through.
Tension.
I like this. We've had loads of people phone up, but they don't seem to want to come on. I think John is sweet talk. He's either telling them to F off, or they're finding him so engaging that they don't need to come on here. Maybe he's solving all their ills. He's a very good listener, is our John. Very good listener. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. It's a Friday night. And the calls, funny enough, I was talking to Clive Bull about this, my good friend Clive Bull, yesterday when I saw him. And he was saying, how's your show going over the summer? I said, it's going really well, but the phones have been quiet compared to 3. He said, yeah, we've had the same thing. He said, the last 5-6 weeks, he said, the phones have been dead. Do you know how many listeners he gets?
It's in millions, isn't it?
For his show. It's not in millions, no.
Go on.
500,000. We need to get a doctor, a lawyer and a bloody candlestick maker on this show. That's what we need to turn it around, guys. That's what we need. 0344 499 1000. I'm Iain Lee. This is the Late Night Alternative on Talk Radio.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain Lee.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call this evening. We're kind of sort of in a bit of a no man's land where we're waiting, wondering, will Nesmith join us? Will he not join us? We just don't know. But in the meantime, we'll go to Paul. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
Just a few little bullet points on things that are going on. Yeah, anybody, why is it anybody that kind of delves into any facts gets a moral punishment for delving into them, and then you get people, or whatever, talk about the infrastructure of the tube stations, etc., like old and bigger. Old and knackered, so to speak.
Yes. Well, hang on. Let's go back to the first point. But people start telling facts. They get a moral. What did you say?
Anybody that seems to, anybody that seems to delve in any kind of facts that are not right, get punished by the PC Brigade.
I've literally no idea what you mean. Give me a fact that you believe the PC Brigade. Hello. Wow. Conspiracy theorists. I didn't do nothing. Conspiracy theorists at the ready. Now I know how to work this. I'll call him back. I can do this now. Wow.
Welcome to the Asda mobile messaging service. Person you have...
What is going on? What is going on tonight?
Welcome to the Asda mobile messaging.
Let's try one more time.
Welcome to the Asda mobile...
People who delve into facts...
Right.
That people delve into facts get picked on by the PC Brigade. Let's try them in a minute. Good evening, Dredge.
Hey.
Hey, Dredge.
Hey, so I'm starting this indie pop group, guitar pop group.
Yeah.
And so I need a name for it.
Okay.
It's very difficult to think of names for groups.
What about Dredge?
Well, that's one name.
It's a great name for a band.
I think there is actually a group already called that.
Okay.
I'm not joking. There really is.
How about Bum, Spittle and Cock?
Oh.
Was that your old group?
Yes. That was my nickname at school.
No, I put it on Twitter and I had a few names.
Yes.
The Twinges.
Nope.
I quite like.
Nope, terrible. That's the sort of name of band you get in an episode of Horrid Henry or something.
Oh, Loaded Diaper.
Oh, no.
Dredge! I have to cut you off. I've just had an email from Michael Nesmith.
Oh!
It's the correct response.
That is the correct response. Right. I've got his number. There we go. Do you
want me to leave you guys
No. I want you to stay here. What's the code for America? 001.
001.
Okie dokie. We're phoning up Carmel, California. Let's see if he remembers sending me this email a minute ago. He's a peculiar fish, but... hello, Michael.
Hi.
Hey, Michael, it's Iain Lee. You're live on Talk Radio. How you doing, man?
I'm good, as long as I'm live.
They keep trying, but Michael, you always seem to be live. It's lovely to hear your voice. What have you been up to today?
Well, I've been doing a lot of video ranch work and getting my YouTube channel up and going and putting a lot of stuff that I did in the 80s up there and so forth. It's all kind of clerical and technical and semi-artistic. How about you? What do you do all day?
Today, I watched a really dull program about time travel. I went and saw my 7-year-old son play football for the first time, soccer for the first time, and they lost miserably, but it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to see it. And now I'm just here on the radio, and we just had a confusing call from a conspiracy theorist.
I see. Did they have anything to say? I mean, should we all duck?
Well, this is the thing, Mike. He said he phoned up to say that the PC brigade always attack people who speak facts, and I was just asking him to explain that statement. And here's the thing, Michael: his phone got disconnected, and we couldn't call him back. So maybe there's something in it, man.
Well, that's the only proof you need, isn't it? If the phone got disconnected and you couldn't call him back, I mean, I think there you have it.
The Illuminati does not want that conversation to happen in the slightest.
No, especially between you and a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, man, I just want to say I'm completely in love with you. I've always been in love with you. You are absolutely the person that, I would most like to touch the hem of your trousers. I don't mean that
Oh, my God, you're making me blush here. I'm bright red.
No, I don't mean that in a sexual way, but I just mean it. I think you're fab, right? I loved your autobiography, Infinite Tuesday. It was a delight. You and Jack Nicholson, you had a proper bromance going, didn't you?
Well, pretty much. I mean, we just got on so great, and we just loved being with each other, so we were. was to hang out with each other for, a couple of years there straight, and it was a good time, good ride.
He of course wrote the movie Head that you guys are in, which is a delightful, nonsensical period piece. What do you remember of that writing session? Was it true you all sat in a hotel room and took acid and just talked into a tape recorder?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, the hotel room was a little chalet or a little house out on a golf course, so it wasn't in a big high-rise hotel.
Yeah.
And it was surrounded by golf courts and in the golf course, and so we'd go out every once in a while, take a ride around, have a smoke, and do the stuff that you do. But basically, it was just hanging out in the room, ordering room service, eating with our fingers and eating on the floor, and hanging out, high and happy and holy.
And when was the last? I get the impression from your book, Mike, and I listened to the audiobook. And by the way, guys, if you want to spend 11 hours just having Michael Nesmith reading his autobiography to you, wow, it's a delight. When was the last time you spoke to Jack? I get the impression that he kind of, once he became a big movie star, he sort of moved away from you a bit.
Well, it did sort of time out like that, but he was on his way long before that. No, I think what happened was that he had found himself as part of the corporate collective and the corporate overseers of the Monkees as a product.
Yeah.
And so he was conflicted. Our friendship couldn't really transcend that particular thing. And also, as I point out in the book, those guys were pretty high-end, high-speed, flash guys that were really a lot smarter than I was. They were a lot quicker than I was. They had better taste than I did. I mean, they just, they left me in the dust, and Jack, was riding in that car. So it came to a point where it just didn't fit anymore for Jack and I to hang out. He was off in the glamorous life of the multi-award-winning movie star that he became, and I was off in the drolls, and so it was just a natural parting. He was the one that initiated it. He was the one that said, look, we can't be doing this anymore. Call me before you come over, and that was all he needed to say, and that was because I had never done that before. Jack was just the guy's house. I'd drop over, walk in the door, go to the refrigerator, get myself a beer and some salami and some bread, start making a sandwich, and he'd walk in and say, "Hey, Nez," and that's what typified our friendship for a few years. But that stopped, and when that stopped, it was too tough. It was just, Jack was a big movie star, and I was not, and that was where we split. But yes, you're right. It timed out kind of about the time that he became a big movie star. But in deference to Jack, he was a much deeper soul than that. He would not have said, "Let's don't do any more hanging out," if it just had to do with the fact that he had become a movie star. He did it because he felt like it was just not good for either one of us, and I agreed with him.
You were really good friends as well with the fantastic Douglas Adams. How did that come about?
Well, he had been orbiting in a group of people who I was socializing with in Los Angeles, and his agent was at a dinner party one day, and we were sitting next to each other, and I was talking, and he said, "My gosh, you should meet Douglas Adams." And I said, "Well, I'd love to do it." And he said, "Have you any interest in purchasing the rights to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?" I said, "Do I ever?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, let's fly to London, and you can talk to him about it." So that when I flew to London and I met him and Jane, it was just love at first sight, and we were off and running after that. We were far better friends than Jack and I were.
Yeah, and there's a lovely story in your book, and I love how they're all kind of my favourite sort of people in the world cross paths. There's a lovely story about when he brought Terry Jones from Monty Python to come and stay at your ranch.
Yes, God bless Terry Jones. Oh.
And you had a room full of cushions. And you said, "Terry, this is your room." And Terry...
Do I have to tell the story, Ian? I have to tell the story.
Go on.
Well, he called up. He said, "Look, I'm coming up that way with, but I've got Terry Jones with me. Is it okay if he stays at the ranch?" I said, "Good Lord, is it? I've been hoping at some point our paths would cross, come at once." So he did. He showed up with Terry. And before he got there, I started cleaning up the second guest bedroom that we had, and it had become something of a storeroom, so it was just loaded with pillows and stuff on the top of the dresser and extra sheets and blankets and the kind of stuff that you would put in an extra storage room. And so I started to clean it all up, so at least it looked habitable. Except when it came to the pillows, I didn't know what to do with them, so I stacked them all out on the bed like the designers of the day did back then. They just sort of started at the headboard and ran them down towards the foot, and there must be a stack of pillows, half the length of the bed. These two stacks of pillows went about 3/4 down the bed, so it was, it was kind of absurd, but nonetheless, it was Terry and it was Douglas, and it was a good time, and that would be a nice room for them. So they arrived, we had a great dinner, we had a great conversation, we hung out, we laughed, we giggled, and the time came for us all to go to bed, and walked to Terry's guest room and walked in. I said, "This is it. I hope it's all here. There's a bathroom over there, and there's this over here. And is there anything that you think you might be able to need or would want me to get? Can you think of something you'd like?" And he looked, and there was a dead silence for, I don't know, a second and a half like that. And he said, "Well, I could use an extra pillow." And I panicked. I thought, "My God, I've got every pillow in the house. I sit on his bed. I don't know what to do. What should I say?" And I looked over at Douglas, and Douglas had that sly smile, and I knew I'd been had. But it was how I learned about the very, very light irony of the English humor, and had by it. And so it was a great way to start off with Terry. Great way to understand who he was, and he was a delightful guy. He's having troubles, but he was a delightful guy.
Oh, the man's a genius. Monty Python, I was lucky enough to see them when they did their live shows a couple of years ago. Oh, it was a weird thing. It was like being at a rock concert. It was in the O2 Arena. It's 16,000 people. And it was, the gag, people were saying the gags in the same way that people sing along to songs at a concert. It was amazing.
I wish I'd been there. Yeah.
You mentioned the YouTube channel and the Pacific Arts. How? Because you're an early adapter. I think that's the phrase, early adopter. And you kind of, you invented pop videos. You invented MTV. And I'm sure you might bat that back slightly, but I think it's true. How come you seem quite late to be jumping on the YouTube thing?
Well, it's the material is old, and all comedy material kind of gets stale, like bread, after a while. So I had just let it lay there and not done anything with it. But there are some hardcore fans, like there are for Monty Python and all comedy groups, that really wanted to see it, wanted it to be out there. And I was thinking to myself, there's a whole group of people now who are half my age or a third of my age, and and they've never seen this.
Yeah.
So it might be stale, and it might look kind of old, but now's probably the right time to do it. So I set up a YouTube channel under Video Ranch, Michael Nesmith's Video Ranch. Just go there by that search, and I don't even know that you need Video Ranch in there. But anyway, Michael Nesmith's Video Ranch, and all that stuff from the 80s, starting with Elephant Parts and Television Parts and The Home Companion and Dr. Dark Sauce and all that stuff that I did during the 80s is up there now.
Wow.
In its in 3 to 5 minute segments, and it's not to any particular end. You know, you don't make any money off of it, and it just sits out there. But I think it should be people. There should be some access to the collective consciousness for this stuff, and there's a nice laugh to be had from time to time, and then there's a groan and an eye roll from time to time. So that's what's going on.
And the television parts, we didn't get it over here, and America didn't get it in the other sense of the word. Quite, but that you had Gary Shandling on there, you had Jerry Seinfeld on there before they became huge household names, didn't you? How did you find them? Were you going to comedy clubs and going, "Hey, this guy's quite funny, let's book him"?
That's exactly it. Wow. I had, Tartikoff, who was the head of NBC at the time, no longer with us, but he said, "Can you do Elephant Parts for film, for somehow television, or for somehow getting it on a screen?" I said, "Well, let me think about it." And I realized I don't quite know how to do this, but if Brandon thinks it can be done, I should ask him a little bit more and follow it down. And so I did, and he said, "Well, call up Robin Williams and call up Steve Martin and say, I'm doing this show for NBC, will you come and do a bit on it?" And kind of like a comedy, the comedy version of a music video. We'll call it a comedy video, and that'll be it. And I said, "Yeah, right, Brandon. I'm going to just call up Steve Martin and say, 'Hey, Steve, you want to come on over to do the show?'" And then we click, buzz. And it's, he's not going to take my call. And he's certainly not going to say, "Okay, I'll come over to your little television show." And so Tartikoff said, "Well, whoever you can find." So that sent me on an audition hunt between New York and San Francisco and L.A. and hitting the comedy clubs that were around at the time, a Comedy Store, and there were 3 or 4 in New York and 3 or 4 in L.A.
Yeah.
And so I just sat there night after night after night. And the people that you see popping up, from Jerry Seinfeld to Gary Shandling to Jay Leno to Whoopi Goldberg to just the people that are on the show, they were doing just one-night stand-ups there. So they were pretty easy to get. I went to Jay, and I said, "Jay Leno," I said, "Jay, blah, 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 blah." He said, "Yeah, I'll do it. As a matter of fact, have you got room for my car?" I said, "Yeah, what is it?" He said, "It's a 1956 Buick." I said, "Well, bring it on." Wow. So that was the way it was. Everybody was just kind of bringing what they had. Lois Bromfield came. She was a writer for Roseanne Barr's show, and she was really, really funny. She came in to audition for a part, and I said, "Well, you're not much of an actress, Lois, and as I'm sure you know, but what do you do? How do you make a living in this town?" And she says, I'm a writer." And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you do stand-up?" She said, "Yeah, I do comedy stand-up. That's how I get paid." I said, "Well, do something right now for us."
"Oh, no, you didn't. That's the toughest gig you can do. Do something now. Make me laugh."
That's exactly it. It was just the hardest possible ball I could have thrown at her.
Yeah.
And she looked at me, and she kind of panicked and everything. But she knew I was good-natured. I wasn't putting her on the spot. She said, "All right, well, here, this is Sorority Girls from Hell." And so she starts doing this thing, Sorority Girls from Hell, and it just became a touchstone for the whole show.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the floor laughing, and I just thought it was one of the funniest things that I'd ever seen, and very insightful. She had a whole lot of nice social things to say, and I said, "Look, you're in. You're doing a segment. I don't care whether nobody knows you. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen." And so I put it on, and that was, the beginning of the whole thing. It was a big change. Shandling did kind of the same thing. He did a bit called Miss Maryland, where he was dating the winner of the Miss Maryland contest, but who wouldn't take off her sash and tiara for anything.
It's a great bit.
Yeah, it is funny. One of the funniest things out there. So that's basically how that happened. However, for some reason, and I guess I just don't know what it is, I have a feeling, being very, very candid, that I was the problem with the show. I was kind of a dud, I didn't really, I'm not a comic, I'm not a comedian. I mean, people think I'm funny, and it always puzzles me, and I wasn't as funny as I needed to be on the show. But whatever it was, and I think it was me, the American public wasn't having anything to do with it. I called Mick up and I said, "What are you doing with these puppets and stuff?" And he said, "Oh, you mean with the king and the queen and the stuff?" I said, "Yeah, what are you..." And he said, "Well," and he told me about it, and I said, "Well, bring it over here and let's put it on television parts and see if there's any traction."
And you're talking about Mickey Dolenz and the Spitting Image dolls. Yeah. That
was very funny, and he did a good job directing, and, it was fun to work together, so it was just another step along the way, but it was a step a little bit off to the side of the road, and I tripped and fell, and it took me a while to stand back up.
This is what I was going to ask. That throughout your career, and I was unaware of this, but listening to the book, reading the book, listening to the book, I was unaware of exactly how many trips and falls and getting back up and dusting yourself down there had been. There seemed to be quite a few.
Oh, well, I'll say there were. It was like every time I opened the car door, it went bang! Somebody drive through and take the door off with him. I'd say, "Hey, man, I'm just going to go over and get some coffee. What are you doing?" Hitting my car. I mean, it was rough. It was very, very rough. Still is, I guess, to a degree.
Why did you keep getting back up and dusting yourself down? Why, in 73 or 76, didn't you just go, do you know what? I'm gonna go and work in a store. I'm going to forget this. This isn't, because you seem to get more bad breaks than most people in the business.
Well, thank you. As you know, I mean, I didn't have to think, I'm just going to go work in a store, because I didn't have to work at all. But, and I was, had financial freedom at a very early age. And so I was bouncing along, and that set me apart from my peers in a profound way.
Yeah.
Douglas was very successful. By the time we started hanging out, he had sold 14 million books.
Gosh.
And I knew a lot of people who were very successful, and so that was my social circles. But in terms of somebody who had actually been a huge success, I was not in their league, and they all knew it, and so we all sort of tiptoed around that particular point. I mean, there would be one person at a dinner party that I didn't know quite well would always have something to say about inherited wealth, and my thought was, well, however it comes, be grateful, and that's what I was grateful and happy, and that guy would say from every time, we're fine here, we really don't need to keep working, and I would say, I do have to keep working, I do have to keep doing this stuff. Its creative return is huge. I couldn't live without it. The spiritual part of my life would be bereft. I would have nothing to hold on to. So I kept on going.
Yeah.
And I took every one of the hits that came as a signal from the universe that says, "You're doing just fine, guy. Keep on." So I just did.
One of the hits. I thought I'd seen Repo Man when I was younger, but I watched it I watched about 6 months ago, Repo Man, the movie that you produced. And I'm convinced I saw it when I was 15, but I couldn't have done, because I didn't remember any of it. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the weirdest films, and I'm talking about Head as well, but Repo Man is one of the weirdest films. It starts off as one thing, and then just goes off into this bizarre, surreal space fantasy. It's joyous.
Yeah, well, I think joyous is a good word. It's hilariously funny.
Very funny.
But the thing about Alex Cox, who was the director and one of the writers, or actually the writer of it, was, he's a wicked smart guy. He's English, Oxford educated, according to him. and he was working on his law degree, and then he switched over to film school, and this was his thesis for his UCLA master's. And so I read the first couple of pages of it, and I thought, man, I got to make this movie somehow. And I drove around to the studios and finally found a place to park at Universal and talked to the execs there, and they said, "Well, we don't understand it, but if you do, we'll follow you, Nez." And I said, "Good, it's over here. Let's go." And so that's how it came to be. I mean, it was very organic, very natural. Nobody was chasing a buck. Nobody thought, oh, this will be a hit. We didn't think about that at all. We just thought about, has this got the stuff of a cultural meme? And sure enough, it did. You know, I mean, it's still alive. It still goes on. The Universal team, executive team that put it out was different than the one I sold it to, and they hated it, the people who put it out. So, and we didn't get any distribution except for one theater in Cambridge, Massachusetts, that played it for a year.
Wow.
Straight. And during that time, slowly the soundtrack started to get this traction among its peers, and the next thing you know, the soundtrack was a hit. And somebody came up to the Universal boardroom and said, you know, guys, we've got this hit record embedded in this movie as a soundtrack to this movie, and people are screaming to hear it. So that's a year or two later is when it finally came out, and that's probably why you don't remember it and don't remember when it came out, because it never got a rollout. It got a leak out.
A leak out. Nez, listen, I have to go to the news. Are you okay for another, 10, 15 minutes? Or have you got to
call me?
Should I call you back?
Yeah, call me back.
I'll call you back after the news. Thank you, ma'am. Speak to you in a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Michael Nesmith. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, does it? Call me back. We'll call him back after the news. Wow. What fun, dear listener. This is the late night alternative. As Michael Nesmith, you will remember him from the Monkees. Of course, he also had hits on his own. He did invent MTV. I want to pick his brains for a little bit longer. I'm fanboying out. My name is Iain Lee. This is the late night alternative on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The wild man of late night radio, Iain Lee.
Differently interesting nocturnal emissions from a legend of late night radio. On air and off the leash.
The late night alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
This is Talk Radio. My name is Iain Lee. We were chatting to Mike Nesmith, and I'm calling him back. I mean, it really is one of the most wonderful evenings for me. I bet he's gone out. I bet he's done the.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. It's Iain again. I was wondering if it was just a ploy and you weren't going to answer again. If you were
okay, well, hang up and call back, and I won't answer.
No, I won't keep you much longer, man. It's just such a thrill to talk to you. Last year, 50th anniversary of the Monkees, and that wonderful, wonderful album, Good Times. And it was such a delight to see it getting. Well, first of all, to see some of the material that was written by Andy Partridge and Noel Gallagher and Paul Weller and all these wonderful people. But also, I think it got universally praised everywhere, which for A, a Monkees album, and B, any album, is unusual. Were you pleased with it? Were you happy with the way it came out?
Well, I was. I didn't quite know what the acceptance would be, and when the acceptance was what it was very gratifying. So, on balance, it was really, I thought, a big win.
The track "Me and Magdalena" is the one that we played it a lot on this show, and that seemed to. I woke up one day and that was trending on Twitter, as the kids say. It was all over Twitter because people absolutely fell in love with it. That's an incredible song, and for me, you and Mickey harmonising together, that is a very special sound.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Mick and I have always loved working together. Oddly enough, within the context of the Monkees, we never got the chance to just be the duo that we are. So, it never came about as a thing. But I agree with you. I think we have a good time singing together too. No pun intended.
No pun intended, but pun taken. Well, one of my favourite Monkees tracks is Auntie's Municipal Court. There's a deep album track for you hardcore fanboys out there, and that's got a lovely little kind of duo between the two of you.
Yeah, Fine Man, Crazy Man. He can't see.
Sound of the Sunset, Sound of the Sea. But is there going to be? I've heard rumours there's going to be another Monkees album.
Well, I haven't.
Oh, well, there you go then.
So keep me apprised. I mean, if I don't want to miss my appointment, assuming I'm invited. You never know these days.
Well, you never know with you lot either. I know it gets a bit tense sometimes. You must have been interviewed like a million times, and everyone asks the same question. How do you guys get together? Oh, tell us about liquid paper, Tipex. Blah, 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 blah. Is there anything, Mike, that no one knows about you that you've never told that you could share with us tonight?
Well, actually, I don't think so.
Oh.
And the reason for that is because my life is an open book.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't kept any secrets.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can find out or what would want to find out or know about that you don't already know. I've been really candid, and I know that people are interested. I'm not a fan guy myself.
No.
So I don't go around looking at that. But I know that there are people who take some comfort and nourishment from it, and they say, I'd like to know more about this. So I made a decision very, very early on that I was just going to be 100% forthcoming and keep no secrets and keep nothing back that anybody ever asked about. And that's where I am today. I mean, everything there is to know about me is known.
All right, well, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want an honest answer from you, sir.
Here we go. All right.
Here we go. You ready? This is it. The fact I've been quoting for years that in 1967, the Monkees sold twice as many records as the Beatles and the Rolling Stones put together. Then you came out a couple of years ago and said, no, that's a lie that apparently you said in 1979 in an interview in Australia or something. But then loads of people have said, no, that was a lie. What is the truth, Nez?
Well, I made up the Beatles, that we outsold the Beatles and the Stones in the interview. I made it up on that spot.
Right.
So before that fact had not existed. Now, if it was a fact, it was not a fact to me. It was a lie to me. I was just making it up because I wanted to probe the interviewer and the media guy a little bit and just see, how do you make a decision about what you're being told?
Yeah.
How do you know any of this stuff? And I just wanted to see if he wanted to riff with me about it, but he didn't really. He had just taken the stuff home, had copied it off of the press release, and they'd put it in the paper, and it persisted for 50 years or however long it was.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, this is a good time to put this to rest, and that's why the only reason I put it in the book was just, let me take the air out of this balloon before it runs into an airplane.
You invented fake news. It's now all over the place. We can't believe anybody anymore because of you, man.
Well, tell Trump and tell him to send me some royalties.
Have you? I read somewhere. I read it online, so it's probably not true. But I read that you'd given up making music and doing shows and making recordings and things. Is that true?
Not at all.
Great.
No.
Good.
I mean, I'm looking at First National Band Redux. I'm looking at
oh wow,
all sorts of things that I could do, and with and without any of my past. And so no, I'm still very active. I mean, I got the book finished.
Yeah,
that was a really important thing, and I had to tell everybody to sit down and leave me alone for a couple of years so I could get it done. I'm very proud of the book.
It's a great book.
I'm very happy with it. I think it gives everybody who's interested in what it's written about a good look at what it's written about.
Yeah.
Which is fame and celebrity and all the stuff that happens and in the middle of an artistic firestorm. And so I just but in terms of it being there's no more monkeys to go out with, so that won't happen, but that's, neither here nor there. I mean, there's lots of stuff that's still yet to do.
When you say First National Band Redux, what do you mean, reissuing those albums with bonus cuts?
No, just taking out a new group of guys.
Oh, wow.
Teaching them the songs, and I could sing front, and then they could play the way...
Oh, really?
Yeah, the problem, of course, is that... Red Rhodes is gone,
yep.
and he was sui generis. I mean, nobody could play like him. So I've got to find a steel player who can duplicate Red's parts. So there is a kind of a duplication there. But if they can duplicate Red's parts, then they got to be a little nuts, and that means that they can do some of the stuff that Red did. And so I'm looking forward to that if that should ever happen. Christian, my son, suggested it. He said, everybody would love to see a First National Band show. And I said, well, I'm on for it, but you got to put it together because I just don't know anybody anymore. And he said, I can do that. I'm surrounded by great players, and I'll put the word out. So I think he's doing that. And if that comes together, I'll go do that. You know?
Country music fans will know Red Rhodes because he is the pedal steel player. Or, he just takes it. He is unique. He takes it into its own art form. And am I right? He was also a massive stoner as well and completely crazy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he would take a cup of freshly cleaned marijuana and pour it into a pint jar of peanut butter and stir it all up together till it made this kind of glowing green mess, and they needed a tablespoonful at a time and stayed high for like a month.
Which we, of course, don't condone. Very naughty, Mr.
No.
Rhodes.
We're just talking about Crazy Red, aren't we?
Of course we are. Michael, listen, I'm going to let you go. I love you so much, and I know I surprised you earlier on, but I'm releasing an album of yours live at the Paris Theatre in 1975, recorded by the BBC.
What is that? What's going on? Tell me a little bit about that.
I'll tell you about your new album. So me and my mate,
like Don Kirshner.
Please, for God's sake, don't punch a hole in my wall, will you?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Well, so me and my mate Glenn, we've got this record label, 7A Records, and we've been speaking to Jessica, who works with you, and we've got a contract that's been signed by you, man. Either that or someone's excellent at doing your signature.
No, I remember it. No, we got a deal. I just don't know the Paris Theatre. I didn't know.
1975 solo acoustic show for the BBC in London. So it's in London.
Huh.
And it was, it's mainly songs from the prison, as well as, a couple of, in inverted commas, hits, like Joanne and Silver Moon.
Oh.
And it's delightful. We've done a picture disc LP. We've done a CD with a booklet. They're on their way to you, man. So you should get them probably middle of next week at some point.
Oh, how exciting. That's great. Great.
It sounds fantastic. It's beautiful. And also, sorry, one final thing. Now you'll be interested in this. Someone has found a 30-minute television programme of you that's never been shown, that was recorded in New Zealand in 1975, I think.
Wow.
And it's you being interviewed and you on stage on your own, doing a solo show. It's amazing. I've got a copy of it on my computer. We kind of had to lease it off New Zealand TV. I'll send it to you, man. I'll send it to you.
Please do. That'd be great. I'd love to have that. That'd be great part of the of my archives.
It's incredible. Michael Nesmith, it's such a joy to talk to you, man. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on. It's a real pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the record that we've put out.
Same here. I look for it. Good talking with you. Stay well, my friend.
Thank you, man. Take care. Bye-bye, Michael.
Cheers.
There we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I can finally stand easy now. Flippin' heck. Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? Actual, John, let's turn up Catherine's microphone so that she can bask in my glory.
Well, I've been watching your face, and I've seen a lot of 14-year-old Iain, and I'm just really thrilled it went so well. He was in a really good mood, wasn't he?
Yeah. That was good. I hope you enjoyed that, dear listener. I know I try and keep my interviews with people that I think you'll dig, and I think you would have dug him. I really think you would have dug him. Normal service resumes. It's a phone-in show unlike any other. We'll get Paul in Leicester back, who was the conspiracy, or the gentleman who was upset about facts being poo-pooed by the PC Brigade. Dredge, if you want to give us a call in, we can come up with a name for your band. Easily done. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Jacked up jive talk for janitors, jazz cats, and gin-soaked boys and girls.
Is that Commando?
If you're awake, you're welcome.
I've got 5 cactus needles stuck in my...
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
034. It feels like the show's not. I can see we've got 2 of the names on my screen, although John's just dropped off. That we had at the start of the show. It feels like the show's going backwards for some reason. But I do want to speak to John because I want to find out what it was he was talking about. But we've got another John. It's Jonathan. Good evening, Jonathan.
Hello, Iain.
Hello, Jonathan.
I just wanted to ask you, do Region 2 Japanese DVDs work on UK?
Yes, they do.
Region 2 machines?
Yes, they do. Japanese DVDs, bizarrely, are the same as British DVDs. Why? What you got?
Nothing at the moment.
Hentai? Some hentai porn?
No, it's just that we're PAL and the Japanese one is NTSC, isn't it?
It works. It will work.
Oh, good.
Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jonathan.
You become his Japan correspondent.
I've become Google. We've got these Fu Elliot DVDs and Blu-rays, and we've got some to give away because it's coming out with loads of extra stuff, and we're going to get Jarrett, the producer, the director, on in the next couple of weeks. The packaging is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning, and they've done a great job. I just want to check that the Blu-rays and the DVDs will work in this country, so I'm going to take them home. Try them on my Xbox over the weekend, because I know that we all know how to hack a DVD player to make it play American DVDs, right? You just type in a code. There's the weird thing on Apple Mac computers. You can change the region 5 times. And the last time it's locked on that region. So it's a real tight thing. But I'm going to check to see if Blu-rays you can't do it. Blu-rays there isn't such a hack for it, which is annoying as F. But I'm going to try them over the weekend, and if it works, we'll give away a couple of these next week. And I'm really excited about that. Also, this is your last call, dear listener, for this Sunday evening, 7 o'clock at King's Place in London. It's just round the back and to the side of King's Cross. It's a really, really nice venue, right? Really nice venue. Catherine and I will be performing our only London Rabbit Hole show this year, right? There's loads of tickets left. We've got about 90 people coming, which is brilliant. So it's going to be packed, but it's a big hall. So there are loads of seats left, okay? But if you're coming, don't worry. I've been told that it looks full with about 70. So it's going to be a great night. It's going to sound really good, okay? Must remember, we've got to take a hard drive to give to them to record it, because they're going to record it all for us.
Oh, my goodness.
But there are tickets left. You can buy them online, or if you rock up on the night, I guarantee you will get in. I doubt 110 people are going to rock up that haven't bought tickets and want to buy tickets on the door. I think they're £12.50. I think if you buy 3 online, you get a discount. I'm not totally sure. You'll have to have a little look-see at that. But if you type in King's Place Rabbit Hole, or King's Place Catherine, or King's Place Iain, it will come up. It's this Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. And then what's happening, we'll finish at 8:30, so we'll do an hour and a half without a break. And then, if you all go up to the bar, there'll be a little roped off area for us in the bar, where we'll come up and we'll stick around for half an hour, 40 minutes, however long it takes. If you want pictures, if you want things signed. I mean, you laughed at my signature the other. I had to sign a document and you laughed at it.
It's the easiest signature to forge in the world.
It's like 2 brackets.
Yeah.
2 open brackets.
Wow.
I know.
But mine's not. Mine is my one that... You know your autograph, is it the same as your signature? I feel weird signing autographs
hang
anyway.
on, sorry, what?
Well,
so just say that exact sentence again.
You know your autograph?
Yeah.
Is it the same as your signature?
What do you think it is? Of course it is.
Well, doesn't it mean that they could nick your checkbook and then forge your...
No, of course. Yeah, Paul McCartney's always getting ripped off like that.
Well, he wants to watch
somebody's I've got in my bank and somebody's taken out 30 quid. I never took that out. What's going on? Oh, no, they bloody got a copy of my autograph from 1967 and bloody copied it, bastards.
Yeah.
Bloody bad. You see that Paul McCartney video?
No, I didn't watch it.
Oh, mate! It is brilliant!
Is it as good as Meat Free Mondays?
Oh, it's brilliant. Should we play it?
Yeah.
It's a song. You've got to watch it. So the video is part of it.
Right.
Paul McCartney.
Hang on, I'll come over there.
Donk. It is incredible. A guy called Swede Mason has put together this mix of clips from Paul McCartney and then done that auto-tune thing and made a song out of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tweet it now. Hang on, let me just tweet it. And then we're going to play it so you can watch it. It is, here we go. So tweet that. What's going on here? Hello, computer. Let's get that. Control C. Let's get that. Control V. Let's get that. Right. So you'll hear it. You might find it hard to make out some of the words. It's so good. Absolutely flipping brilliant. Here we go.
I was working in the studio and the bass player, he got the call, come down and do your bass part. So he goes down, he's back up in about 4 minutes. He said, well, that was quick. You must have got it in one take. He said, they only wanted one note. Bonk. And then they put it in the computer.
Yeah.
Bonk, 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 bonk. One note. It's a tune looking for words. I'm a clip reconstitute. I've taken a video back to the future. What I do, nobody is tutor. One note, I'll put it in the computer. Very into this techno stuff with all the machines, computers and stuff. I'm going to make up a song. You don't like it? Fair enough. The drums, I can play it. Rhymes, I can say it. We lay from that man down. I'm my head. Again. Collaborative production. Looking back, it was all still done on that little 4-track. Now one note, I'll have a plonk on that. Get a baseline, get a hard tap. Just one recurring tune. Get stuck in your head like a hardcore. It's your big chance, cool out of punk. He said they only wanted one note on the structure of the songs and some of the great technical EQs and all the gimmicks, synthesizers and dodgy lyrics. People have come up to me and said, there is some rumour, I'm dead. I had a sample by the bed, and I just woke up with... I'll be changing that. I said, wait a minute, you won't, you know, it's the best line in it. Drums and bass, man. What I'm going to do now, to make sure I'm in tune, with my little glass... Near enough. It's sometimes the drum sounds that sound a bit... Yeah. I'll do that again. Do it, please. Make things even worse. They come in with another verse. At half-time, the drum machine, tell you all about Alan Green, down the McCartney rabbit hole. Took samples, people say, I'm not stealing anything, man. I was just doing what the computer can, and this allows me to do what I do. I still don't like it. Screw you, producer today. Have so much choice. Too respectful of my voice. Speed it up. Use effects. Please, all healthy. Lack of respect. A naughty boy. What can I say? You couldn't do it anyway. Studying all those years ago. So I mad and wrote a song. Plonk. It doesn't really mean anything. I know what it means. I want to sue this guy.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that incredible?
Gosh, they're working that.
Oh, man, it works a lot better with the video. I had to dump that. I forgot there's an F-bomb. I think we got away with that. But watch the video. It is incredible, the amount of work. Have you watched that, Dredge?
Eh?
Have you watched that video?
No, I was just listening and tapping my feet, you know.
Watch the video, man, because it's a work of art, that. It is a work of art. Some people are so clever. Right, we need a name for your band.
Yeah, I mean, somebody suggested Simply Dredge, I don't
know. Simply Dredge, I like that, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The Grateful Dredge.
Well...
or Dredge and the New Power Generation. They don't have to be funny, as you can hear.
I've just remembered one Neil Hamburger joke that we can tell.
Let's have a listen.
Not the E.T. one.
No.
You might have to dump yourself.
No, I'll take the swear word out.
Okay.
Why are the Grateful Dead so hot on stage? Because none of their fans work. Isn't that great? That's a great line, isn't it?
That is good.
That's a great line. I love that. I love Neil Hamburger. The guy's a genius. He messaged me yesterday, which was nice.
So that was weird. So you just phoned up Mike Nesmith, and there he was.
There he was, yeah. I've got his phone number, and I'll be tweeting his phone number at the end of the show, so everyone can phone him up. How's about them apples, huh?
I don't know. I thought, Jack Nicholson to me sounded like a bit of a, that was a bit of a funny thing to do. Just say, oh, don't come.
You've got to call me before you come round anymore. But, well, one has to draw from that in Nicholson's mind, Nesmith was being irritating. There's an interesting...
Coming stealing all his food.
Well, yeah, There's an interesting thread in his. By the way, Nesmith's autobiography is fantastic, and I did get the audiobook, and it's a joy just hearing that slow, laconic Texan voice reading this story. And some people have. There are a few instances in there, and like when he talked about the pillow thing with Terry Jones, where it was obviously a joke. Well, I could do with one more pillow.
And he didn't know it was a joke.
And in the book, he didn't know it was a joke, and then he got it was a joke because he saw Terry Jones and Douglas Adams laughing. And some people have said that can be symptomatic of being on an autistic spectrum, of not recognising normal social cues that other people might, and there are, and I'm not saying I don't know, I've got no idea, I'm not going to psychoanalyse the guy or medically analyse him at all, but there are a few moments like that in the book where he is the odd one out and everybody else is enjoying a moment, and he is separate from that moment, like that.
Well, like a kind of lack of self-awareness.
Just not kind of a self-awareness, but just not understanding why a room full of people are laughing, and then kind of in his head going, well, this happened, then this happened, and they laughed. Oh, so that plus that must be a joke then. There's a few instances like that throughout the book that have made people kind of, whether he is or not, I have absolutely no idea, wouldn't like to guess. It certainly doesn't affect him as a human being. But
there's a bit. I heard this thing about he was in the room when everyone first heard "I'm a Believer."
Yeah, it's not true.
He didn't think it was going to be a hit.
Apparently, that's not true. He said that's not true. He said, yeah, it'll be a hit if you put strings on it, which of course they're never going to do. But he denies that. He says that never happened.
But how would he not know what a joke was? He was a really funny sort of comedy actor, wasn't he? I mean,
he was, but very dry. It was one of my. I always wish he'd done more acting in the 70s, because if you watch Head, he looks so sexy. He looks so cool wearing this dark brown suit and these big shades and this very strong side parting and big sideburns. He looks so cool.
But isn't part of his charm the fact that, I mean, he mentioned it there, doesn't have to do anything he doesn't want to do.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's just to amuse himself.
It's funny. He was really, really poor as a kid, then became rich with the Monkees, then became really, really poor for most of the 70s, then became rich when his mum died in 1980, and she didn't give him a penny until she died, and he inherited about $30 million or something. Then he got involved then he lost loads of money, became poor again, and then he sued a company that was trying to stifle his company, and it went on for years and years and years, and in the end he won, I think I got this right, $150 million in about 1995. I'm clutching at straws with these dates slightly. And then I think he lost a significant amount of that money again. Why else would he be charging $75 for an autograph? I think money does not have the importance to him that it perhaps has to other people. I don't know. I just find the man fascinating. I think he's a great songwriter, and what a voice. What a voice.
We never got that TV series over here, that television parts, or we got like one episode once that scared me when I was that's what I remember.
It's a very strange show. Yeah, I've got it on tape somewhere, and it's I mean, it did. There are 6 episodes. I think episode 4 was the worst rating show on television. It was like 79th out of 79, and then I think they dropped the last 2 episodes. So I identify with that. I was in The Persuasionists, for God's sake. I know what that feels like.
I tell you who I think he's a bit like, and you probably think this is nuts, but I think he's a bit like Frank Zappa.
Yeah, go on.
Because he does all these bizarre, strange, experimental things all the time.
Yep.
And he doesn't seem to care, what people think.
Yeah, because he's not motivated by money.
I wish I didn't have to pay a mortgage and feed kids, because I would love to. I've got a brilliant idea for a podcast, Dredge, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it would be a lot of work for zero reward. About 80 people would want to listen to it. And it would be... I'm not quite sure what it is. Basically, it will be Revolution number 9 as a podcast, right? But it would be all clips of conversations, just clips of conversations in a 25-minute weekly podcast. And part of me thinks, okay, you can get that off the radio. I've got some records of spoken word. You can get that and do that. But then part of me's thinking, you just go out with a recorder and go and record people on buses and people on Speaker's Corner and just use snippets of it.
I think there is a market for it because it's like that ASMR thing, relaxation.
Yep.
People watch people, women folding sheets and things, don't they? Just to put their mind on a kind of screensaver, and it sounds like it could be that kind of vibe.
It's just, it's a lot of faff, and I stopped doing The Door into Summer, the Mixcloud, because one episode got 4,000 listens and the next one got 400, and I just thought, it's a lot of work for 400 people. But now that Virgin's coming to an end, I want to do something. I'm not comfortable working 5 days a week. I want to do a 6th day. So I've got 2 more Virgin shows. So maybe I'll do this ambient conversation thing. I don't know. We'll see.
That sounds good. And you've got this weird experimental thing next week, isn't it?
Playing the radio a week on Saturday. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm trying not to think about that, but I'm going to be playing the radio next Saturday night in front of a select audience in a darkened room. Bring a pillow.
Keep your hands to yourselves.
Possibly a light bulb,
yes. Dredge, thank you very much. Good luck with the band. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. This is Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We have an empty switchboard. It's always strange when we have a guest because you're never quite sure. I always find it difficult to generate the momentum that we normally have. And it started off funny because we weren't sure if we were going to get the guest, and so it's always a little bit strange. I will be completely honest with you. We have no calls on the switchboard now. So if you want to give us a call, you can do 0344 499 1000 is the phone number. I'm really keen to talk to Paul in Leicester. He was the guy. I can see John's trying to call him, and he's not there. He may well have been silenced by the Illuminati or the New World Order or by Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. We just don't know.
Or maybe that was him making his point, and we might see the problem that he's facing in getting his facts that aren't quite right, in his words.
Yep. Or
voiced.
maybe he's run out of Asda credit because he's on Asda phone, or maybe his mum has just told him to shut up and go to bed. All of these things are possible.
Yeah.
By the way, I've just posted on the Monkees Facebook page, the Zilch page. It's a great page, really nice people. So the main thing from the Nez interview, he's getting a new First National band together to play some shows. The board's going nuts, guys. I am currently melting a tiny, tiny little corner of Facebook. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, we'll sit and go through some of the newspapers. I watched my 7-year-old boy play football. First football game against another school today, and I'm going to be honest, my boys' team were awful. But it was great because I don't play football. I don't watch football. Football is not a part of our house. We've got a football somewhere, but we don't really go over the park for a kick around. We go and collect leaves is what we tend to do. We go on like little nature walks, and we'll take the dog off and we'll collect leaves, and if they find feathers, we'll get feathers, and we collect sticks, and then they play in the little stream. That's what we tend to do. So I went to see it today, and I was talking to some of the other dads, and I said, well, we don't really do football in our house. And both the dads I spoke to went, well, no, neither do we. So yeah, so we were there shouting in courage. Come on, boy, come on, man on,
kick that,
man on. It was a lovely bit, right? One of the kids on my boys' team, because they play rugby, but this was football. So there's the kid from my boys' team, and another kid, and the kid from my boys' team's got the ball. Another kid comes up to him. They're 7 years old, right? Another kid comes up to him, and the boy from my boys' school just pushes him, both hands, just pushes him like that. It was beautiful, beautiful. That's what we like. That's what we like. But my boy is like what I was when I was 7-year-old. He's taller than everyone else. He's lanky. He's very bookish, very bright. And he does what I did. He'd run towards the ball and then sort of turn his body away because he didn't want to get hurt. Good for him. Good for him.
He's not stupid.
No, of course he's not. Of course he's not. Well done, him. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Got ways to spice up your sex life. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's go to Ian. Good evening, Ian.
Good evening, Ian.
Good evening, Ian.
I have a question for you.
Do you know who you sound like?
Go on.
You sound a bit like this.
What are you beefing on about?
You sound like that guy.
Really?
Yes.
Oonga, 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 shagga, oonga, oonga, oonga.
Your name's not really Dave, is it?
No, absolutely not.
Flipping, eh?
Okay. All right then, Ian. What you got for us, boss?
I've got a question for you, Ian.
Yes, sir.
Your name is spelled I-A-I-A-N.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah. Actually, you said that.
No, I didn't. I've never said my name is spelled I-A-I-A-N.
Okay.
Shall I tell you how it's spelled?
Go on.
I-A-I-N.
I-A-I-N.
Yes.
Ah.
The correct way to spell it.
I thought the spelling was I-A-I-A-N.
That's Ian.
Iain.
Iain.
The Welsh pronunciation, Iain.
Iain. Do you spell yours I-A-N?
Yes, correct.
God, it's a boring name, isn't it, Ian?
Yes, it is.
It's
totally boring.
Awful. What were our parents thinking?
Well, my father was of Scottish descent, and he also served in the Cameron Highlanders.
Well, then why has he spelt your name the English way?
You tell me. But he also gave me a load of other Scottish names. My full name.
Here we go.
Before I added another name.
Yes.
Is Ian Edward Cameron Jackson.
Flipping heck, mate. You couldn't get me. All you need is a Mac in there somewhere, a muck. But otherwise, that's full Scotch.
Absolutely. And to compound the felony, I added Hoyle into the mix, and I am now known as Ian Edward Cameron Hoyle Jackson.
Why? Oh, this is interesting. So you added you hyphenated your surname. Why did you do that, if you don't mind me asking?
I did that because I had a dalliance with.
Here we go.
With a young.
Here we go.
I had a dalliance with a young lady whose surname at the time was Hoyle, Hoyle.
Yeah.
Yep. So I changed my name by default to Ian Edward Cameron Hoyle, surname.
Yeah.
Hyphen Jackson.
But then you split up with her.
Absolutely.
God, this is the most intriguing conversation I've ever had.
Go on. She split up with me.
Did you add the Hoyle before or after the break?
Before.
Okay. Do you think that's maybe why she dumped you? Because she thought it was weird?
No, I don't think so. Her behaviour during the relationship, she was living with me at the time, was just wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I had to ask her to leave.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry to hear that. But you kept the name. That's interesting.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Is she the one that we've all got one, haven't we? We look back and think, yes. I wonder if I'd tried this, or if she'd been prepared to try this. I don't mean sex. I mean just, I don't. I mean, if I'd been a bit different, or if she'd been able to accept this about me, or if I wonder if we'd still be together. Is she that one, Ian?
No, we split up because of the differences in our attitudes toward relationships.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I can't accept this anymore. But here's another fact.
Yeah.
I have been married and divorced 3 times.
Wow, how the hell did that happen, man?
You tell me, mate.
Yeah. Expensive?
No, not particularly.
Really?
Yeah, really.
What is it I want to ask a question, but I want to ask it delicately. But I can't think of a delicate way of asking it, Ian. So I'm going to ask it.
Ask it hard.
All right. I'm going to ask it hard, right?
Yeah.
What is it about you that means that the 3 marriages you've had have all ended in divorce? Is there? Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying this in a critical way. Is there something about you?
The only thing I can think, Ian, is I am a different person from the time when I went through all those relationship problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think. I am certainly a different person from what I was back then.
You with anyone now, Ian?
No, I'm divorced and single, living alone.
And how are you finding that?
Well, I do find the consolation of having 2 surviving children who are very supportive of me.
Beautiful.
Even though they are long-distance relationships.
Okay. Well, Ian, it's really nice to talk to you, and I really appreciate you sharing some quite personal details with me. Thanks very much, mate. I hope everything goes the way you want it to go.
That's all right, mate. I think it is heading that way now.
Oh, hang on. I'm just about to say goodbye. What do you mean it's heading that way now? Have you got your eye on someone?
No. I'm 78 years old, and I hope you're sitting down.
Yeah.
I have been recently diagnosed with a second cancer, which is cancer of the lung.
Oh.
And I've decided not to have the treatment that they suggested, and I've been released into the community under palliative care with my GP.
Oh, mate, I'm sorry to hear that, Ian. I'm really sorry to hear that. Have they given you? I mean, we all know what palliative care means. Have they told you how long you've got?
No, but I reckon I may, because of my constitution, which is quite weak at the moment. In fact, the medical authorities describe me as geriatric, and I know. It made me laugh when I read it. Geriatric and frail.
Well, you don't sound geriatric. Your voice certainly doesn't sound frail. You've got a much younger voice. I wouldn't have put you at 78. I'd have put you late 60s. I'd have put you 10 years younger.
Well, my father was exactly the same. He died of cancer of the bladder.
Yeah.
And he was always taken for at least 20 years younger than his actual age. Yeah.
Are you scared?
No, absolutely not scared of dying. But what I told the medical authorities and the social worker that are currently dealing with my case, I said I am petrified of how I'm going to die.
What, in case, what is painful and humiliating? Are those your fears?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Painful, yes. But as it's lung cancer, I'm told that as there are no nerve endings in the lung, that there should be no pain.
I think the way you are talking about this, I find it fascinating. And I think you're an inspiration, mate. I think you're a real inspiration. I hope that doesn't sound patronising.
No, absolutely not. You see, I have a faith. I'm a spiritual. Excuse me.
Go on.
I'm a spiritualist, medium, and healer, and I have been for many, many years. And I have accepted that I have to go at some time, and now I know what is going to take me away, and I know, not believe, I know that I have got a lot to look forward to.
Good for you. Good for you. Every time I go to end this conversation, you come out with something else that is mind-blowing. We'll do the ads in a minute. Sorry, John. I'm assuming that you've tried the healing, and that's obviously had no impact.
Well, I am getting healing.
Right.
For my feelings about my condition.
Great.
And also I'm getting healing against the shock of getting the news that I had developed a second cancer.
When did you find out, Ian?
Within the last month.
Hey. Would you do me a favour?
Go on.
Only if you feel like it. Will you give me a call next week?
Yes, I can certainly do that.
I'm here Monday to Friday next week from 10 o'clock. Only if you feel like it. But it would just be nice just to know how you're doing and that you're all right.
Certainly.
Nice one, mate. Thank you so much, Ian. Best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Cheers. In 20 years of speech radio, that is one of the most amazing calls I've ever taken. Every time I kept going to touch the screen to cut him off, something else, some other huge thing came out. What a nice man. What a really, really nice man. And I meant that, an inspiration. Oh, dearie me. Tonight's show is all kinds of powerful stuff. I'm really late for the ads. This is Talk Radio.
Take a trip into the alternate reality of late night radio.
I think I'm in something like the Matrix, and so are you.
The Late Night Alternative.
Hello.
With Iain Lee.
Is there anybody out there?
On Talk Radio.
Hello.
Oh, Harry Dean Stanton's died, right? 91 years old. But here's the thing. Something very strange is happening tonight. There is a very strange energy. We've talked about that Ed surname suicide at the start, and that call with Ian. Harry Dean Stanton was the star of the film Repo Man, which I was talking about with Nesmith. And he's on my mind because I'm going through the London Film Festival programme looking for films, and all the films I want to see are on the week that I'm off, and I'm going away. I want to see Jabberwocky on the big screen, all cleaned up and stuff, but I can't because it's on the week I'm away. But there was a film, and I can't remember what it was called, but it's Harry Dean Stanton, and I hadn't thought about him for ages and ages and ages. And so I read about him 2.5 hours ago, talking about a film he was in half an hour ago. He's died. There's a strange energy in the air. Love that call from Ian. Thank you, mate. Do keep in touch. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, I have got 52 ways to turn on your lover. Survey shows 40% of women lose interest in sex. After a new survey found 4 in 10 women lose interest in sex after 12 months when living with a partner. What can you do to get the spark back? Below, a Sun writer explains how she rediscovered her bedroom mojo after living with her boyfriend for a year.
A year? She lost it after a year?
My wake-up call came one morning when my boyfriend turned to me and said, "Are we ever going to have sex again? I'm going to have to get a mistress at this rate." I very nearly spat out my tea. It was a joke, but 50% of every joke is the truth. What?
Stats.
We had been together for 18 months and been living together for a year. Like most couples in the early honeymoon period, at first we couldn't keep our hands off each other. "Let's move in together," I said one afternoon after a steamy session. "Then we can do this every second of every day." God. No, I'm never saying that to anyone ever again. So we did move in, that is. And at first it was great. I would dress up in sexy lingerie and surprise. Even the word lingerie makes me tingle downstairs. I love the lingerie department. I love it. Do you love the lingerie department, Dennis?
Yes, I do.
Good lad.
Well, you know, sex again. What's wrong with sex?
Well, when was the last time you and Mrs. Dennis had sex?
I don't tell you tricks like that, but I'll tell you something else.
Yes.
It was always great. It was was always great.
Would you like? We might be able to get you a senior citizen discount on a sex bot.
No, thank you very much.
They're beautiful. Every hole's a goal.
It's easy enough to get out of good sex by picking the right girl in the first place.
Okay, well, if the thing is, if Mrs. Dennis wasn't feeling up to it, you could have it off with Robot Samantha.
No, thank you.
Really?
Self is necessary.
Sounds like you're a little bit scared that she might be too much woman for you to handle.
You're joking. She's a great girl.
You're talking about Mrs. Dennis here, not Samantha.
She's a great girl.
Well, Dennis, thanks for that. Was there any point to this call, or you just want to brag about your sexual conquests?
You're on about sex again, and I think that old boy there, who is obviously dying, he's a great fella as well.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? I really enjoyed that call.
He's an inspiration to people.
Yeah, he is. We don't talk. I say this all the time. We don't talk about dying enough in this country.
Well, I'm up for it, of course.
You're up what? You're up for dying?
Sooner or later, yeah.
Hey, come on, buddy.
Listen, you're dying from the day you're born.
Yes, well, how old are you, 92 now?
Nearly 93.
Yeah, I've got a sweepstake, as you know. If you make it to 93, you get 60 quid. If you don't, I get 60 quid.
You've pulled my leg like that before.
I'll pull your plonker in a minute.
Hey.
Thank you, Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Dirty sod. You dirty old man.
So let's just recap.
Lingerie turns me on.
No, before that, I don't want to hear that again. They lost interest after a year.
This is what they're saying. 40% of women lose interest in sex after a year.
God.
We used to have chandelier swinging sex every day, everywhere. We made Christian Grey look tame. I think Christian Grey I think he's borderline rapist.
Yeah, he's horrible.
It is thoroughly unpleasant. But a year in, problems started to arise. I got fed up cooking and cleaning while he slobbed out in front of the TV in his pants, rejoicing or consoling himself depending on whether Chelsea had won or lost.
Oh, kick him out.
My Victoria's Secret underwear became Marks & Spencer Jim Jams. Don't you not Marks & Spencer Jim Jams. You're always in your dressing gown, he would moan as I shuffled around the flat clearing up after him. By now, our sex life was drier than the Gobi Desert.
Do you see a mistake?
What?
Clearing up after him. What
Yep.
you do is you get a nice big pile and you stick it in front of him and go out.
And I would just say...
I put everything in a bin bag once and threatened to throw it out the window.
I'd say thanks very much for putting that in a pile. Great. I know. Just don't touch anything. Here's the thing. I know where everything... I hate it when people I've lived with tidy up. Where are my keys? Where's that bit of paper? Where's that photo? Where's that... Because I know where everything is.
No, but if we're talking about plates and, he's slobbing, let him have a little nest and go out. He can sort himself out.
No, not at all. I'd be grateful of a table full of stacked plates. Beautiful. You only clean stuff when you need it. There's no clean plates. You wipe a plate down under the tap, under the cold tap. Get the cold tap running. Get it off. Beautiful. That'll do. Dry it with a dirty tea towel. Bishy bashy boshy. We're there. We'll have to carry this on after the news. 03444991000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to. I'm Iain Lee. She's Catherine Boyle. This is the Late Night Alternative. You're listening to Talk Radio.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
My calico girlfriend starting a set of new rooms, watching the stars as they drop in, making the nighttime a fool, wandering over a roadway, changing the signs of the times, looking for love and a new day, seeing with more than our eyes. Shadow, follow us up to the top. Take softly drop out of the waves. Keeper of men and the shadow, follow us up to the top, taking the latch off the window, giving us more than we promised. Me and my calico girlfriend suddenly stare at the face of time and its hope that we'll win, then softly drop out of the rain.
Here we go. There's Red Roads. Incredible. Isn't it though? Isn't it? Isn't it though? Isn't it? The first three. I mean, all of the Michael Nesmith albums have their moments, right? The first three, First National Band, no, Magnetic South, Loose Salute, and I can't remember what the third one is. But they're just that. It's just that sound, and they're incredible, and they sold about 25 copies a piece, and they're just amazing. 0344 499 1000. It's 5 minutes past 12. We might have a lock-in tonight. I don't know if I'm feeling a lock-in vibe tonight. It's a very strange show. Very, very strange show.
I remain to be convinced. I could stop, but I don't know.
Yeah, we've had 2 lock-ins this week, and they've all been fun. People have been saying, "Oh, you're going to put the lock-ins as a podcast?" No.
Let's keep it secret and special.
That defeats the point of it. If we put it as a podcast, and if you know it's going to be a podcast, then you won't listen to it. So it's going to be like a little secret club. If the show is a rockin', we're going to have a radio lock-in, and we've had 2 this week. 0344 499 1000. Good evening, Clive.
Evening, boss. You all right?
Yes, thank you very much indeed.
Well, I was distracted. I was ringing you about one thing you said just before the news, but I've just noticed that Harry Dean Stanton's passed away.
Yep. The age of 91, and we were. I was reading about him 2.5 hours ago, and I was talking about a film that he was in with Michael Nesmith an hour ago. Isn't life weird?
That's what. Well, he was in. This is an awful to say now, and it's really badly phrased. I was going to say he was in. He obviously was in the Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh, I haven't seen Twin Peaks: The Return. Is it any good?
I can't answer that question.
Thanks very much indeed. There we go. Fine.
Okay, sorry. But he was in it, and it's not to glorify it or whatever. But what I will say is he was still fagging it at the end.
Good for him.
91, you know.
Yeah, good for him. Still had a fag on. You've got to respect that.
But no, the thing you mentioned before about because I read I saw the Daily Star today for different reasons.
Yes.
And I was going to send you the picture about the sex bots and the weird comments page. But I think you've done that. But the thing is about and then the thing in the Sun about the 52 ways to leave your
52 ways to keep. This is how they phrased it: 52 ways to keep her keen all year.
Well, they were rubbish. I sort of was talking about it with a friend earlier, and there was only sort of one which features football. You know, oh yeah, that'll be all right. But it was like, do a foot anyway. But the thing was, so I was reading through it all. But what you were just saying, which I thought was interesting, was the washing up thing. Because I've got loads of plates that I never use. Yeah. I've got loads of cutlery. There's only me living here on my own now.
Yeah.
And it's mental. I could cater for like 5,000 people. But when I used to stay in the can't name a hotel, is that all right?
Why does everyone think they're not allowed to name place? Where does this come from? Unless you're going to say the hotel killed your children or sexually molested someone, then yes, of course you can name the hotel.
Well, it was Dolphin Square in London.
Oh well.
Right.
Right, but they used to put
Dolphin Square's not a hotel.
No, it's like a set of apartments.
Yeah. I drive past Dolphin Square every single night on the way to work.
Well, yeah. So they used to put me up in there, whatever, for 4 nights a week.
Who put you up in Dolphin Square?
Oh, don't you remember? Kyle had a job he couldn't tell us about.
Oh, now, Catherine, that's going back to the place that you're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
I've got no idea what you two are talking about. I wish you two would get a room and sort it out.
But yeah, no, I did. I used to work in that place in that London, and they used to put me up in Dolphin. Anyway, but the thing was, what they had, and it was a brilliant idea, and I remember thinking I should put this into place when I got home. Yeah. But what they did was, you got like a little self-contained apartment thing, and you got given, like, so you open the kitchen cupboard or whatever, and you had one plate, one small plate, one bowl, one knife, one fork.
Keep moving. That's a joke for the mums and dads out there.
We'll all be merry and bright.
Yes.
But no, it's true, and I thought, do you know what, that's a brilliant, because what I do, and I don't know you do it, either one of you, but, you know, I'll make me tea, me dinner or whatever, I'll have a plate, and I'll cook me tea or dinner, not wash up, do it the next day, and he's going to get another plate. And I think at the Dolphin, it made you think about it and go, do you know what, if it doesn't get washed up, it ain't getting done, is it? So I better do it.
You know why? Because that place caters largely for public school boys who've never had to wash anything up in their lives.
What are you saying, Cassie? I'm a public school boy.
So it forces them to pull the finger out. I went once, I almost got into Cambridge. I got down to the interview section, then they realised their mistake. But when you stay overnight there, I was eating in, like, the refectory. You don't even put your own plates away. They had someone that came and did that. And they had someone that made your bed every morning.
Outrageous.
Right? So all these MPs who are used to that kind of behaviour, it's a good way of training them to wash up, I think.
I think it's a good idea. I think, you know, like I said, I just like leave loads on with, like, you know, like baked on, you know, what do you call it, lasagna from the night before, because kind of scrubber these days. But there you go.
That's all right if you live on your own, but if there's four of you doing that, you soon become Mr. Trebus territory.
Mr. what territory?
Sorry? Oh, Mr. Trebus.
Oh, Mr. Trebus. You don't know who Mr. Trebus is?
No.
Enjoy this rabbit hole. I'm going to spell it to you. Mr. Trebus. Trebus. Thank me later, Clive, when you've watched the hours of footage on YouTube. Enjoy!
Oh, no. I'll give it a go. Thanks, Ian.
Thank you, mate. Mr. Trebus, guys. It's a great recommendation.
We could be saving him from the future.
Good evening, Pablo.
Hip, hip, hip.
Hip, hip, hip. I think I've sat on my balls. Because for the last...
You think you might have?
My balls are really aching. I was just flapping my...
God, I know we're mates and everything, but I do not need to see that.
I tell you what, I've got really achy balls. I'm feeling a bit nauseous. And I think they've been too tight. I'm not doing a thing. This is a thing. We can talk about this. You can talk to me about a period if you want. Period in history. I'm just starting to feel a bit nauseous in my lower stomach, and that normally means that my balls have been compacted or interfered, damaged in some way. So I'm just standing up. John, you know what I mean, don't you, John? You know what I mean? Got a bit of the sweats and a little bit of a low stomach ache, so I'm just shaking them about.
Do you want to jump up and down a bit, make sure they're properly...
No, because you do that and you can knock one.
Do you need a cool bowl of iced water?
It would be nice, but I should be all right. And then when I drive home, I'll just loosen my belt and undo my top button on my jeans. And there's a story about that.
Hashtag pray for Ian's balls.
There's a story about that. Hang on a minute. I know. Oh,
I should place my hands together and think of Ian.
Here we go. White Hand Man. Solo sex act at the wheel. A van driver was handed a stiff punishment yesterday for pleasuring himself at the wheel and filming it on his phone. He was multitasking.
Dirty devil.
Married John Cormican's sex act was exposed after police seized his mobile phone. Officers found clips that were saved during a steamy chat Cormican, 35, had with a woman online. The footage showed Cormican pleasuring himself while driving a works van in April. Prosecutor Penny Ferguson said it is clear he was not in proper control of the vehicle as his hands are not on the steering wheel. She explained...
Let me check.
Go on.
If April's all right.
There we go. Thank you very much indeed. She explained police attended his address for an unrelated matter this year. During that search, a number of computers and other devices were seized.
This doesn't sound good.
At one point, he passed a cyclist. At another, he was at a zebra... Oh, no. No. This stops being a joke now and becomes... At one point, he was at a zebra crossing as a woman and a child walked from one side of the road to the other. Oh, no. He said it had a devastating effect on his life. He'd resigned from his job and moved out of the marital home.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Dirty dog. Here we go. Fair play, though. He only got fined £1,500 and 9 points. So 9 points for masturbating whilst filming yourself as you're driving. Some people with a clean licence might think, well, you know what, it's not a disqualification, is it? It's not a disqualification. Anyway, Mr. Trebus, Trebus. Everybody on Twitter is annoying me. Yes, Pablo.
Yeah, well, I've just been listening back to some of your former dealings on former radio stations. But yeah, no, I was just listening to a lot of Barry from Watford related things. As now he's under the thrall of Edmonds. Is he no longer a going concern?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him.
We thought he was dead, to be honest.
Yeah, I was told he'd been murdered by his lunatic son, Dave St Michael. It was Dave from. And then next thing I know, he's on telly. So we bumped into Barry from Watford on the way to Sparks. Went out in the thing, didn't it? Yeah, we had Barry on the other day. We were off to see Sparks and we bumped into Barry from Watford in a naughty part of Soho. He was coming down a flight of stairs.
It's a bit embarrassing, actually. He offered me some money.
Absolutely incredible.
No talks. Well, one of the things I was listening to, which is possibly something that you could use for your lock-ins, with Halloween coming up.
Yes.
I was listening to one of them where you did a play. And I was thinking that maybe that could be something that you could do again.
Are you suggesting that we reuse old material?
No.
Well,
the concept of a play is, it goes back to the ancient Greeks. So you're not,
that's the oldest of material.
But when do we do a play? What, when I was at LBC?
Absolute, I believe.
I've done a play twice. We did one at LBC and we did one at Absolute, and
had like Vinny and Andre and Barry.
All right, let that percolate, because it was very funny, actually. Let that percolate in the back of my head.
I was thinking, just with Halloween coming up, you could, just as a change of tone.
A bit too involved now, but yeah, go on.
Well, no, just as unpaid stage director.
Yes.
You could do it on a Halloween theme. Mix it in.
Too obvious.
It makes your previous idents relevant.
Too obvious. No, we'll do it. We'll do it, and it will be a surprise. We'll just start doing it one day, and people won't know that we're doing it.
Oh, listen, I was pleased to hear as well. I'm in one of your little pre-clip things.
Well,
complaining about my internet.
There you go. You see, dreams can come true, Pablo. Dreams can come true. 034. I've got no idea what that man was talking about.
Just nod and smile.
Okie dokie. 03444991000. I'm Iain Lee. This is Talk Radio.
Experience the unconventional,
Evening, boss.
the unpredictable, and the completely unorthodox.
Exactly.
With rule-free Iain Lee. The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee.
I've got no internet for the last 4 days.
On Talk Radio.
I've rediscovered I haven't done this for years, the joys of drawing around the bodies of people in photographs in newspapers using a biro pen, and it really does make... It's great fun, isn't it? It's great fun. And there is no joy better than drawing an evil beard and glasses and colouring in teeth on pictures.
My daughters always beg me for... Right. I don't really buy women's magazines anymore because it's nonsense.
No.
But if I ever get like a free one, I'll have a look at it, and then the girls will say, "Can I have that, please?" And they go through it systematically, and everyone gets an overhaul.
Beautiful. Back to these losers. "You're always in your dressing gown," he would moan as I shuffled around the flat, clearing up after him. By now our sex life was drier than the Gobi Desert. It had been weeks, possibly months, since we'd done it.
Oh, God.
He told me he was suffering from blue ball syndrome. Yeah, ain't pretty. I wasn't sure if it was a thing, but he did look ill. So when he threatened to have an affair, part of me didn't doubt it. I mean, he could always have one off the wrist. I mean, that is an option. That will relieve... Blue balls is a thing. I've had it. That would relieve it. Ultimately, I didn't want to lose him.
Do they go blue?
No, but it hurts. He is a good-looking guy with lots of admirers. I needed to take control of the situation. Firstly, I made him help out more around the house. If he was good, I rewarded him with sex.
I hate that.
Sorry?
Help out around the house suggests that it's her job. Okay. It's your house. It's not helping. It's doing your bit.
She has said 2 of her jobs here: clearing up and sex.
Well, she's an idiot.
First, I made him help out more around the house. If he was good, I rewarded him with sex.
Idiot.
It worked. Soon he was scrubbing the floor like a car wash gone haywire. No one scrubs the floor anymore. Was this 1927? You're out there browning the front doorstep. Come on, guys. Then I started... Now, this I don't like. Then I started to schedule in sex.
No.
I had a no excuses policy. I even set an alarm on our phones so we didn't forget.
She sounds like a bloody nightmare.
She really does. Throughout the day, I bombarded him with naughty pictures of my wah-wah as a taster of what was to come. I spent so long in the bathroom at work, I feared my boss would think I had a problem. Well, you did. You work at The Sun. Your boss did ask you what was going on and then paid you to write a column about it. But it was all worth it. Now our sex life is better than ever. We spend the weekends dressing up, role-playing and getting dirtier than the dishes in my kitchen sink. I'm glad to say our 1 year itch is behind us. I bet our neighbours wish it wasn't. Jeez. So here we go. 52 ways to keep her keen all year, and it's got a nice it's cut out, so you can put it on the fridge.
Let me tell you something. Before we begin, I don't respect this woman's authority.
Week 1, amp up the romance by making a playlist of your relationship songs.
Oh.
Week 2, go shopping for here we go. We're in. Go shopping for sex toys and learn about each other's fetishes. Week 3. Wow, this is okay. We've jumped the gun. This is significant. Week 3, try tantric sex. That's just gone from 0 to 60 in 0 to 69, I should say.
Good one.
Am I right, guys? Week 4, get sticky together by making bonfire toffee.
What's that?
Week 5, dress up in a sexy Halloween outfit. Bonfire toffee. For your own private Halloween. So dress up as a sexy zombie.
She's an idiot.
Week 6, serenade her or write some poetry.
She actually does mean just making toffee. It's not a thing.
Week 7, find your inner caveman and build a bonfire. Then enjoy some fireworks of your own. Jesus, this is awful. Week 12, up the sexual chemistry by playing a flirty game of strip poker. Try doing that. 0344 499 1000. Week 16, you've put the Christmas decorations away, but you can create your own cosy romantic glow with candles to get your... These are all about starting fires. This woman's a necrophiliac. Not necrophiliac, pyromaniac.
Wow. Don't mix those two
Pyromaniac, sorry. You don't make that mistake twice, guys. Trust me. Week 17. It's cold outside, so turn up the heat by cooking a romantic meal. Naked. Using warm aphrodisiacs like chili. Chili's not an aphrodisiac! I'm not cooking naked. It's unhygienic and it's dangerous. If that hot fat spits on you...
Also, chili on your fingers going to the toilet.
Oh,
no.
God! You touch it, get that in the eye of the penis. Week 19, book a day off work to curl up on the sofa watching sexy movies like 9.5 Weeks.
Oh, God.
Oh, flipping it. Week 22, leave a naughty gift of a blindfold and whip wrapped up on the bed with a note saying you will be her servant for the week. Week 20... Jesus! Hope you're feeling turned on at home, guys. I'm just getting bunged up. Week 23, wrap up warm and go for a romantic woodland walk. Who knows what might happen with no one looking?
I think we all know, because she's probably put it on a list somewhere.
Week 27, this is to keep her keen, right? To keep her moist all year. Put a smile on her face by finishing work early to give the house a spring clean.
Oh, this woman.
Week 29, avoid April showers with a lazy weekend of massages and sexy foreplay. Week 30, show off your rippling muscles while doing some long-awaited DIY.
Does anyone else want to dump this woman?
Week 37. If she is an early riser, sync your body clock to fit in some morning nookie each day for a week.
Oh, God.
I hate morning sex. I hate it. It's just, it's horrible. Week 50. It's back to school week. Do your homework and find sex positions that do more for the woman than the man. Week 52, be her butler in the buff for the evening.
Oh, don't.
It really is, that's unhelpful.
She's a nightmare, that woman.
It's unhelpful. Oh dear, I'm very tired. I do feel a little bit queer, if I'm honest, this evening. Little bit of the sweats going on. A little bit of the sweats.
It is warm in here, though.
There's something wrong with the aircon, isn't it? Ah, dearie me.
But that woman, God.
No, not doing it for you. Okay.
No.
Here we go. Clear off Baldy. Waitress's megaphone blast at customer.
Oh, dear.
I love these. A man was mocked for being bald as he left a restaurant by a waitress shrieking through a megaphone. He and two pals say they were left humiliated after complaining the music was too loud. One, known as Mark J., told how they had asked for it to be lowered as it was interfering with his hearing aid. But he said staff turned it up instead at Man Bites Frog, a French bar and restaurant in Chorlton, Greater Manchester. Mark wrote on TripAdvisor, realising we clearly were not wanted, we got up to leave, at which point the waitress produced a megaphone and started using it to shout at us to get out, and decided to also mock one of us for being bald. This is brilliant.
Classy.
The owner, see if you can find this place on TripAdvisor, Man Bites Frog.
I mean, it's a great name.
The owner and the other members of staff all laughed as this happened. He added, here we go.
Well, it's got good reviews.
He added, do you know why one of our party is bald? Really think about that, because for all you know, he may be very ill. They're saying he's got cancer.
Yeah.
I bet he hasn't.
No.
I bet he hasn't. You're saying he may... Cheap shop. Owner David Cleal Hill said no offence was intended and offered to buy Mark a pint. He said bald men are more virile, so it's not inconceivable. It was a compliment. He added, sometimes the service can be a little cheeky, but I'd rather have my team here than a bunch of drabos with no personality. Give us some of the reviews of this place, then.
OK, here we go. OK, I shall just start at the top.
Start at the top, go on.
All right, so 3 out of 5 reviewed yesterday. Yeah. High hopes. Me and my partner had high hopes for this restaurant, as it's hard to find this type of cuisine in Chorlton. Seems to be descending more into a bar as the food quality and service slips. When it first opened, the dishes were new and great value, but the prices have been creeping up, and it's not really worth the price anymore, especially for the basic one-pot dishes. The steak's actually £17, which I think is very steep considering the cut of meat, and for a few pound more, you could get a better quality cuts of steak in South Manchester. Here we go, a different one. 5 out of 5 reviewed yesterday. I loved everything about this restaurant stroke bar, inside and outside seating, with the inside being a mismatch of furniture. Disappointment about lack of steak frite was forgotten after fantastic baked camembert, and even more surprising, the lovely rabbit dish. I never liked rabbit before. Music was all my favourites. Even the forgetful service seemed part of the charm. Ah, I see. Here's another one. Again, yesterday. Man Bites Frog is a great place to eat, drink, or just enjoy the vibe. There's always some good beers on, and the menu stands out from other eateries of Chorlton. This is where I first ate frog's legs. The backyard's perfect for loafing around on a sunny day, and there are interesting books to look at in the bathrooms.
It's just a little bit of fun. It's just a little bit of ball bants.
It's got character, this
it's
place.
Ball bant. No, it sounds like a good place. Well done. Although £17 is quite expensive for a steak if it's not that good. 03444991000 is the telephone number. We'll take calls straight to air for the last 30 minutes of the show. This is Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
The Late Night Alternative with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
03444991000. This is Talk Radio, Mondays to Fridays, guys. From 10 o'clock, it is the Late Night Alternative. We've got some great... we've got a couple of interviews, actually, already lined up, that are already pre-recorded. Mark Lewison, the Beatles expert. It's a really, really good interview. Even if you don't like the Beatles, I think you'll enjoy it. And there's a guy who has written a book whose name escapes me right now, Colin Schindler. We recorded it yesterday. We're going to play it tonight. I forgot. We'll do it next week. He's written this really good book. He's compiled this really good book of letters of complaint to the BBC. And it is hilarious. They're from I think the first letter in this from like 1933 or something. And there's a really good section about people complaining about bad language on BBC Radio. And they're all from about 1947. And most of them are complaining about the word blast. Blast. Now, God blimey. We know that means God blind me. Bloody hell. Yeah, okay. But people are complaining about the word blast in a broadcast. And I cannot, for the life of me, work out why blast is an offensive word in 1947. Now, these things usually have a religious or biblical significance. Okay, like call blimey, like I said, and flipping hell, bloody hell. But I cannot for the life of me work out what the religious significance of the word blast is. Do you know? Dear listener, do you know what it might be? 0344 499 1000 is the telephone if you want to give us a call. We'll take calls straight away. I don't think it's going to be a lock-in tonight. It's a very strange vibe. I'm not saying it's a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. It's been a corker. But it's a strange vibe in it tonight. It's a hard vibe to maintain for 3 hours, or more than 3 hours. So we won't have a lock-in tonight, I don't think. It might turn around, you never know. Here's the bullshine story of the day. The ghost of Whitney Houston haunted the stage on the BBC's new tribute act showdown. Comedian Paddy McGuinness is fronting Even Better Than the Real Thing, bringing together the world's best pop star impersonators. Oh, so some stars in their eyes. So this is stars in their eyes then, isn't it? Isn't it? Am I missing something? One is Whitney Houston tribute singer Belinda Davids from South Africa. She claims the spirit of the chart topper. Oh, by the way, this is absolutely true. Absolutely true. You know, we had, we read about the story about the psychic who got a message from, George Michael to say that Jerry Halliwell was going to relaunch her pop career, and it's a big success, right? He's a psychic, right? He foretells the future. He was booked to do an interview with me tonight at 8 o'clock that we were going to record and play out tonight. 8:30. It was due at 8:30. I got an email from Catherine saying he'd cancelled because something had come up. Ladies and gentlemen, there we go. 8 o'clock he cancelled because something had come up. You finish off your own gags there, guys. I've got that letter from... I've got this letter from Ken. I don't know if we go all in and read it. Do we read the letter from Ken? It's been a very weird vibe this evening already. Maybe we go all in and read it.
He said you can, didn't he?
He did say I can. Ken, religious Ken. Okay, he said I could read it. Let's go all in. Let's go all in. Some of you will have read it because I've tweeted it. I can blow my nose. I'm so bunged up. I haven't got my Vicks. Okay. Here we go. Let's go all in, guys. It's a weird show. Let's just bring a dark vibe on us. Hello, Iain. This is August the 18th. It is certainly sad, but not surprising, to see your hatred of Jesus. I'm going to read this without comment. Okay, I'm just going to read it. It is certainly sad, but not surprising. He spells my name wrong as well. He's Scottish. I spell it the Scottish way. He spells it the English way. Hello, Iain. Hello, Iain. Hullo. Without comment, here we go. It is certainly sad, but not surprising, to see your hatred of Jesus, the Bible, Christians, and myself grow in fervour. May I also say that this hatred, an evil antichrist spirit which controls and grips your heart, is the real source and cause of your present mental instability and severe depression. You, of course, will be angry at my viewpoint, Iain, but please be sure to know that hatred of Jesus, the Bible, and Christianity has serious consequences. Sadly, some of which you presently are experiencing in mind and life today. Because of your rebellious spirit towards God, who loves you, you are now a man totally devoid of any true peace in your heart. Likewise, many millions today are in the same depressed mental state throughout the world. However, Iain, please be sure to know that I have absolutely no ill will towards you. You are a very precious soul to Jesus. He loves you and died for our sins, and offers you grace, mercy, healing, and a new life, if you will sincerely repent to God and trust in him, Jesus the Saviour. This is your your choice. God forces no man to believe in Jesus. I do sincerely forgive you, Iain, of your vicious abuse that you expressed towards me on the radio. I will call you no more. Sadly, your life is directly controlled and directed by Satan, who desires to destroy you as a person and cause you to go to hell. Jesus wants to heal you, bless you, and save you, but you reject him. Your choice. I have been praying for your salvation now, Iain, for about a year, but sadly, you are clearly hardening your heart against Jesus and the Bible. Some of this is underlined, some of this is in quotation marks. Due to this, it is possibly now best that I discontinue praying for you. Perhaps it is time now for me to respect your decision to reject Jesus and his love, and now allow you to go your own way. If God does direct me to stop praying for you, this I will do. So maybe that says start praying for you, this I will do. There is an epidemic of, in speech marks, depression now throughout the UK. It is no coincidence that this mental problem many now experience is occurring at the same time as our nation grows in hatred towards Jesus, the Bible, and Christianity. Food for thought? From your friend, Ken from the Newcastle area. P.S. Iain, feel free to read this letter on the radio. Great hatred and opposition towards Christians and Jesus is something in the Bible is prophesied in the Bible to increase the closer we get to the second. It's handwritten, so I'm struggling a bit. The closer we get to the second coming of Christ. So we are well hardened for your antichrist rantings and those of others. You only harm yourself, Iain. There is one certain way of becoming unpopular in the UK: by believing in Jesus, by standing up for Bible truth, and by speaking against him. Then there's some quotes from the Bible. God mocks proud mockers, but gives grace to the humble. Proverbs 3:34. God opposeth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. Peter 5:5. Hallelujah. Don't. This is. I don't know. He's written some stuff in brackets I can't read. Don't be on the side of the mockers, Iain. Be on the side of Jesus, my friend. Why? Because your eternal destiny is at stake. Heaven in victory and joy, or hell in total and absolute and extreme depression and sadness, with no escape forever. Take great heed. Which eternal state do you choose, Iain? Your friend, Ken. I will make no further contact with you, Iain. Shalom. Please don't remain a dead man walking, be a new man in Christ. And I tell you why it's important I read that. Because we started the show with a really sad story about a guy that some of you will be aware because he came and performed at Performance Ring, who 32-year-old lad who killed himself. And stuff, and I don't really want to dwell on that because I don't want to kind of, be seen to be making something out of that. But I think it highlights something that we had Ross on yesterday, whose mate killed himself a couple of weeks ago. People are dying People are actually dying. Young men, old men, young women, old women are killing themselves. They're dying. Right? So, for someone to suggest, ignore all the stuff about me being rude about Jesus and all that, because I'm not, and you'll know that I'm not. I'm not abusive to Ken. I'm argumentative. I'm certainly not abusive to Jesus and Christianity. Au contraire, I go out of the way to make sure I'm not. But people are dying, man, and this bloke, who I think I personally believe is mentally ill to some degree, and I'm being careful how I phrase it because I don't want to be offensive to him and I don't want to say anything, but out of turn. But I interpret this letter as the ramblings of someone who is not quite as they should be. Stuff like this, man, is I nearly swore is effed up. It's effed up when there are people every day dying because of this disease. People like that send this stuff. It's the first time I've read that whole letter. I only read the first paragraph before. That's as far as I could get. Don't worry, it's not upset me. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't impact me. I feel sad for him. I feel sorry for him. But I know that it's bollocks. That letter is bollocks. Hemo, stay there. Come to you in a minute. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio. That was spooky. That Howard Hughes thing wasn't meant to be played there.
No.
That is some freaked out mofo shizzle. 0344 499 1000. We'll take calls straight to air for the last 10 minutes or so. Good evening, Hemo.
May you be blasted by the fires of hell.
Wowzers, that's is that where blast comes from?
Maybe.
Maybe. I'm trying to work out why blast is an offensive word. We don't know. We just don't know.
That's what I reckon it is.
Yeah, it could be.
It sounds old.
It does sound old, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds old.
Yes, it does. So, Friday night.
Yeah.
Having a good time?
Friday night and I just got paid. What's that? I want to rip it up. Let's rip it up. That's that song.
Do you want to know what? It's Friday night. I just got laid.
Whoa, Hemo, what a classy guy.
About half an hour ago.
Wow, that's so classy of you to phone a national radio station and tell us.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Is
she still there?
Well, she's upstairs.
Wow.
What the hell are you doing talking to us, you idiot?
Well, I was in the toilet afterwards listening to the radio.
What?
When it was on. And then I just sort of heard Ken, his letter, and you saying blasted before, and I thought, I know what blasted is.
Well, you've just blasted.
Well, exactly.
Something out of your...
Yes.
All right, okay, guys.
Okay, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, so why aren't you in bed talking about plans for the future?
We did that, and then, some people get more tired.
Well, yeah, is she gone to sleep?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, mate.
So
you're going to go home now, or you...
No, I've come up to Middlesbrough for the weekend. It's my girlfriend lives up here.
Oh, okay. Gosh, you must really love her.
I do.
Yeah, well, that's proven by your desire
romantic
to call a radio show 30 minutes after having intercourse with her.
Well, I'm sure I do lots of things 30 minutes after intercourse.
Yes.
Think about more. Sometimes I go back for more.
Wow, you really are
romantic.
Yeah.
Yes, isn't it?
She's very lucky to have you, Hemo.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for that.
So anyway, I didn't hear the beginning of the show. Did I miss anything? Were there any special guests?
Bit, yeah.
No, we had nothing. You're the first call of the night.
Really?
Yeah, it's been very quiet tonight. You're the
hip, hip.
Thank you very much indeed, Hemo. Wowzers.
Disgusting.
So there's a new show that's basically Stars in Their Eyes. Have you heard this?
Oh, no.
The ghost of Whitney Houston haunted the stage on the BBC's new tribute act Showdown.
Oh.
Comedian Paddy McGuinness is fronting even better than the real thing, bringing together the world's best pop star impersonators.
Hasn't he already done that?
Well, no, so this is...
I feel like I've seen it.
Well, this is Stars in Your Eyes. One is Whitney Houston tribute singer Belinda Davids from South Africa.
No, there was one, because I remember one where it was a load of tribute singers, and it was to compete for a job in Vegas, and the Dusty Springfield one won.
All right, mate, calm down. She claims the spirit of the chart topper, who was found dead in her bathtub, aged 48 in 2012, follows her everywhere she performs. Belinda, who plays to sell out crowds. What was that joke? So I remember that joke about Whitney Houston that someone did the other day. It was funny, wasn't it? What was it? In my head...
Oh, I know.
Go on.
What's Whitney Houston's favourite kind of coordination?
Go on.
Handa!
Oh, because I knew it was something like that, and I remembered it as, what's Whitney... That one's funnier. What's Whitney Houston's favourite, I don't even know what it is, favourite contact lens solution or eye drops?
Well, that doesn't work at all.
I believe the children are... That's how I remembered it in my head.
I believe.
That's... What is that? What's I believe?
Isn't that an ibuprofen type thing?
I could be. I don't know.
I honestly, work on it, because there's something in there.
I believe the children are the future.
Yeah, good.
I believe. That's funny.
Yeah, it's not as good as
No, that was it. That was good. That was good. We all, when he said, someone phones up and said, "Oh, Whitney Houston joke," we all held our breath.
I
but
clenched.
That was a good one. She said, I want to go on the slab. The minute I put on the clothes, something definitely happens. Something comes out of me. Oh, I feel her. I want to have a go on the slab, my lady. Is he in prison or out of prison now?
I think he might be out. Let me check.
He got 15 years, didn't he? What's his name?
Oscar Pistorius.
That's it. He got
special treatment.
He got let off, and then it went back, and he got 15 years, and then he cried like a little baby, despite the fact he blasted a young woman away for no reason whatsoever. So I think he's inside, isn't he?
Yeah, hang on, here we go.
Should be.
Pistorius appeared in court in 2016 June to start the sentence hearing for the murder conviction, which concluded on the 15th of June 2016 after the judge, Thokozile Masipa...
What did you say?
That's what her name was, Thokozile Masipa.
For the first syllable there, I thought, wowzers, Cass lost the plot.
Adjourned the sentencing until 6th of July 2016, when, guess what she did?
She gave him 15 years.
She extended his sentence to 6 years imprisonment for murder.
Oh. So he's in prison?
Yeah, but wasn't he in prison, in his uncle's house?
That was before that. Then I think he got sent to... And that was the thing, he couldn't go to a proper prison because they'd laugh at him for do him in. But I think he went to a proper prison. I hope so, murdering that young lady. I'd go on the slab. We were doing a show in the Philippines. I can't do it anymore. We were doing a show in the Philippines, and the local promoter came up to me afterwards and said he'd brought his psychic to the performance.
Of course he had.
He said that Whitney's spirit was right there next to me on stage. That's the closest I've come to being spooked out. It was a little creepy, actually. I was like, wow. I was like, wow. Belinda agreed to take part in the BBC show to help fans remember Whitney for all the success she had,
for money,
not the tragedy of her death. She explained, people remember her... Hang on, listen to this. Belinda agreed to take part in the BBC show to help fans remember Whitney for all the success she had, not the tragedy of her death. She explained, people remember her for all the tragedy these days, rather than celebrate her life. I'm not here for the sadness. I celebrate her career in a way she would do it. By sucking on a crack pipe.
I was going to say.
And having a fight in public with Bobby Brown. There are also George Michael, Little Mix.
What?
Prince. Well, that time, I go out, and I find, trying to talk across the water. Amy Winehouse, Ariana Grande, Dolly Parton, and Bruno Mars impersonators on the show.
I might watch that. Sounds good.
Funny man Paddy McGuinness.
Well.
Man, let me correct this sentence. Man Paddy McGuinness. I love Paddy McGuinness. Oh! No likey, no lighty.
Let the dog see the rabbit.
I like the lady. I'm a daddy now. I'm Daddy McGuinness.
Good one.
Hello there.
What?
Man Paddy McGuinness was left red-faced when the stars on the new TV show didn't have a clue who he was. The Take Me Out host said, the girl who was Ariana Grande flew in from Brazil. Whitney Houston came from South Africa. that Dolly Parton came from Australia.
Where does he come from?
And literally no one had a clue who I was. I used to walk in on the studio floor and everybody knowing who I am.
What is this?
But with these, I had to introduce myself. Listen to the arrogance of this man. But with these, I had to introduce myself. Yes, Paddy, you had to introduce yourself to the guests on your show who hadn't watched your crappy Take Me Out rubbish. Manners, buddy, manners.
Here's some ownership.
Yeah.
I bet they knew who Peter Kay was.
When I return to television, and the time is almost right for me to take back what is rightfully mine, and that's television. And when I do, I will always go up to my guests and say, hello, I'm Iain Lee, and I will shake them by the hand and I will look them in the eye. That's what I'm going to do.
Can't wait for that.
Admittedly, my important meeting the other day didn't go particularly well. Well, I mean, I don't know. I say it didn't go well. It ended up with one of the women I was meeting in tears and the other one refusing to make eye contact with me as I stormed out and slammed a door. I don't know. I haven't been to a TV meeting for 15 years. Is that a good way to end it?
That sounds like progress.
It sounds like something. Dear listener, that is it. That is your lot. Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, Virgin Radio. There's only 2 more of those bad boys left, so come and get it while it's lukewarm or tepid. Don't forget the podcast. If you're coming on Sunday night to the Rabbit Hole, look forward to seeing you. Stick around afterwards. Go up to the bar upstairs and we'll come and say hello. It starts at 7 o'clock. Download the podcasts. Follow me on Twitter at Iain Lee, at Flippin' Kath with no G, Kath with a K. Back on Monday at 10 o'clock. Ta-ta.